stream. You killed me.
How did I do that?
Would
I
you
just
click
moved
on
the mouse
anything?
over, that's all I did.
I'm gonna have to check something real quick.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, now it's considered that's on that application. Are you sure you didn't click? That's the only because it thinks
Yeah,
it's on that application now.
Unless
Hold
it's
on,
like...
hold on. Move it, and then click.
Well, yes, that's
You must have
going
clicked.
fine.
No.
I'm
Must have
just
sorry.
bumped it.
Alright, I guess we're having 2 streams now.
Ah.
Oh, we lost our only viewer.
I'm so sorry.
This is you.
Well, guys, welcome back to
Yep, I guess so.
part 2.
Somehow the stream ended. I don't know what happened. I'm looking into it at the very least.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible.
Well, yes. Why is all this true?
So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road.
I'm supposed to be convincing you here.
I have given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim that he did it. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone down Calabash Roadway, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would.
A reason why Saseki-san might have taken a longer way home.
Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without one.
I think we want to talk to the old man. Whoops.
Alright, we're talking to the old man.
It sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective.
I agree. It's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsume of anything. That's something.
We must use that to our advantage, Mr. Naruto. Cunningly.
Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again, carefully. Do I have to rename this stream? I don't know. And if any of their assertions are at odds, I'll pit them mercilessly against each other.
Yes, don't hold back. Pit them all against each other.
We'll have to change the part number, I think. Do that later.
For pity's
I
sake,
mean, don't do that
little
again.
Nipponese friend.
I want to push the old man.
Push this dude.
You want to push this dude?
I mean, we're gonna have to push off.
Hold it!
A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids. Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I go to the union every morning to find out what needs doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and center. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk, it is. So you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? Interesting. Maybe that's a reason for him to take the long way around. That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just around the corner from where it all happened, that old bookshop it was. What? Another coincidence? That's right. Meerschaum Street it was. Meerschaum Street.
Meerschaum? On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets.
Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please. What's the point in that? Can't we just get this business over with now? Please, sir, it's important. Fine, I'll do it then.
What are you looking for?
No, I'm just making sure it's good. On the day it happened, I was digging up Meersch. No, wait, no, what am I doing? Okay, pit you!
Oh, you have to pit him against someone?
Yep.
Objection!
This guy's saying there's
Oh yeah,
no
he
reason.
would change his mind if there was
Yep.
another reason.
Those two statements are clearly at odds with one another.
At Council, explain yourself.
Please don't point, it wasn't me, I swear!
What? I just want to get this done and dusted. Well, juror number 3.
Oh, me, sir? What do you mean?
Juror number
Walking
5's
animation.
words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map in the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of secondhand books. And on the same day, we now know that there was works being carried out on Weirskam Street, making it impassable, which means the defendant's route back home could not have been taken along Weirskam Street and down Briar Road.
Oh, yes, of course. What do you think, sir?
Well, yes, you can't argue with that, really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards or more of that pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way.
Oh, dang.
So the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken a longer route back to his lodgings.
Yes, I suppose he must have.
I suppose that must be right, eh? Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, but we see now that he had no choice.
Yes! My lord, my judge, sir, if I may.
Yes.
I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of where they happened. Bada boom, baby. So we have to convince 3 people?
4 total, but yeah.
Why?
That's the majority.
To revoke a...
Majority.
What about you, sir?
Who, me? Well, alright then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in, that's what I say.
Let's go. I don't understand the flyer, but... let's go.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful.
Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It strengthens our position somewhat.
Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume, we might be able to tip the balance completely.
Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Van Zeeks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent, by whatever means we have at our disposal.
Thank you, Counsel. On them to summation examination, please.
Yes, my lord?
Ron is contagious.
Alright. Press her. She saw stuff that day.
She did?
She's the...
Whatever is the matter,
wife
young
of the...
man?
You're the wife of Mr. Garadeb, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume his room?
The master's wife? Where'd you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid. The maid, you understand?
She's keeping up that charade? Ugh, this is going to be awkward. Or why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you've been selected for the jury in this trial, I mean.
Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It wasn't the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice.
I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodgings in your master's house, doesn't he?
Yes, that's right. Although he's only been in a little over a week now.
And in that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this?
Oh my goodness me, yes! He's just the sort!
What?
Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something.
Oh my gosh.
Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume. How could people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm. Nothing more.
Well, you just called him a worm. Okay.
What?
Anyway, I better be careful while I'm inviting this maid to speak, since you said enough damning things already. Alright, on to the old man.
Sorry? Hold it, you say? Hold what?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, no.
Hold
What I
what?
said was, hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often?
I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
And at what time did you visit your books on the day in question?
Actually, I think his voice was...
Well, I was picking out books in there all the afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left.
I think you were doing like the old grandma voice before,
Yeah, I was.
That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
Just before 5, you say, exactly when the victim was, murdered? Are you sure about the time?
Oh yes, no mistake there, I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had.
What do you mean?
Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and donked my head.
This is the green guy in the overcoat. Oh, my
God.
gosh.
It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road?
That's right, I live in Corn Pop, you see. Heading down Calabash Road and the quickest way for me to get home, get back from your books.
You told me it was him, man.
Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant.
Sorry, extremely sick. No, I'm quite alright now.
Alright, we picked number 2 and 6.
It changed to blah blah blah.
Oh, I
blah,
guess
blah,
this is
blah,
new
blah,
stuff.
Blah, blah, down.
I wish I knew how to do societal takedown. Who doesn't?
So,
Wait, no! Okay, wait.
Just skip it.
I know. Did I skip this? There we go. I
Interesting.
apologize.
That's funny.
I figured it was gonna be something like this because they're always talking about who else could it be?
Objection!
Objection. Those two statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning.
A flaw? What are you talking about, counsel?
Well, juror number 2, juror number 6.
Hi, whatever do you mean, sir? I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you.
Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There's at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt we found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. He then returned home on foot.
But the man says he has no recollection of his return.
That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes.
Yes, we are well aware of this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection. Can we really be sure of that, madam?
Why, whatever do you mean?
I'm sure you've heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim, who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood.
Oh my!
My goodness, you mean?
That's right. I'm referring, of course, to hard of hearing juror number 6.
Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat, whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes, was the jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today?
That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has somewhat similar build to the victim. Well, look at that.
My goodness me.
Sorry, you need a pee?
And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell.
On Calabash Road.
Therefore, the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6. It means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly, the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home.
Oh my!
You
My-
idiot, old man! If you hadn't been so daft as to be roaming about there, we would have boxed this off hours ago.
And really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat?
Yeah, that's right, screw your coat.
What did you say to me?
Is
Dumb
it a
butch.
crime?
No.
Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days, huh? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat, is it?
Just wants to be fashionable.
So red in the face.
I know.
My lord, I do hope it won't cause an inconvenience.
You'd like to change your name?
Alright.
I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty.
Thank you.
And I would too.
What?
Is it a crime to change your mind? Is it? Well,
Just that easy.
Well, that summation examination has concluded with a rather larger shift in person opinion. Eyes 2 to nose 4, so the nose have it not guilty, they say, if I keep rhyming and rapping. Which means we no longer have a consensus today among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Objection!
Throw it. Throw it. Break it. Yeah. Could it seem churlish of me? What does that mean? I just think childish, but with a slur.
Yeah.
Churlish of me to drink from my hollowed chalice moments after raising an objection.
So churlish means rude in a mean-spirited and surly way.
Only to crush it in disgust. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
So he's broken 2 chalices and a bottle.
He also threw a chalice behind him.
And this is the 3rd one now.
No,
So 3
he broke
chalices.
He broke 3, chalices.
He's crushed 2
And he threw
thrown
one behind
one,
him.
and then
Yep.
the bottle he checked.
Yep. Lord Van Zeeks.
That's funny. It seems I must retract my earlier remark.
What do you mean?
I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them going full... them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer.
Whatever
do you mean?
Objection. I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth.
Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated, sir.
That's right. It took me the whole day, and they paid me a measly twopence for it.
Now, my learned Nipponese friend, tell me. Do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents?
Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue, no.
2 yards is a little less than 2 meters.
Less than 2 meters? That's not much at all.
In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor.
You're right. Just jump over the people working on the road.
Remember he said that anyone who came
Yeah, he turned them back.
around.
Yeah.
Would you not agree, my stalwart friend?
Me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no. What?
And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works?
I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time.
But he said he sent people away.
Yeah.
No coaches would have had hope of passing anyway, and we just turn any gentlefolk back when they come. Kids just jump right over us all the time.
The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town.
Is that true, is it?
The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to the lodgings, Mr. Natsumi walked down Briar Road.
Ugh, crushed. In a single sentence. I don't know, I feel like Van Zeeks doesn't have a great point here.
Old man.
Cold man, you can talk.
You say that at around 5 o'clock on a day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese friend behind you at the time?
Oh, I can't say I can remember.
You don't remember?
How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man that the accused saw, but I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it.
Look at the picture, I wonder if anything that's on you guys.
Order, Lord Van Slacks, explain yourself.
My lord.
If you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not profit during the Summation Examination?
Trenchant means vigorous or incisive in expression or style.
Trenchant. I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed.
Ugh.
But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel. Oh dang. Oh dang. So my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over.
What are you talking about?
My lord. The prosecution requests permission to call its next witnesses to the stand.
Granted, bailiff, bring forth the witnesses.
It's next witnesses.
Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident.
Yes, I remember, one of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less.
I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness.
Alright, no matter who Vincent Danziques brings to the stand as his witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent, and I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle's over.
Unwinnable. Unwinnable.
Oh,
what
gosh.
the heck? You guys got those. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
Alright, let me think. What am I gonna
eating
do?
his-
His, like, helmet strap, yeah. Are they're related, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, they are. Look at their
Rolly
eyeballs.
beats. I mean, I don't know. Let me
The
think.
eyes are looking.
Constable Rolly beats, sir! Nothing to report on the streets, sir!
And I'm Mrs. Beat. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife.
What's the story here?
Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day.
He's chewing on his thing.
No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired.
Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world.
Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually.
Indeed, apart from the heydays of our gallant officers, trudge some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check that meters are reading true.
What accent do you have?
He has dementia.
And they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our street lights.
There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all.
I wouldn't just be falling asleep on my feet. I've collapsed long ago.
But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor.
And a man of slumber.
On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat?
That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly?
Constable Rolly beat, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir.
What a great witness he's going to be.
Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident.
Yes, sir.
What? Watch it just be her and she just wants to be.
It was our wedding anniversary and Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor. Then the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at the nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Rolly and I both saw him as clear as day.
Man, she a real piece.
Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say.
I mean, I feel like she's got her head on more than most people in this series thus far.
You peace, lady.
Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to positively identify Mr. Natsume at the scene. If their testimony is true, the alternative course of events that you established in the Summation Examination will be quashed.
You know, they didn't say anything but the knife.
It's death knell, in fact. Because that alternative was never viable in the first place.
Just the sound of a bell.
What
No.
an unfortunate perchance singing on your wedding anniversary too.
Oh, I know, but I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that. Gosh, the life of a London Bobby sounds very hard indeed.
Indeed, however, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon.
What do you mean by that? This is going for another
My
5 days.
learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without doubt the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure.
Except the man's so tired his wife has to do all the talking.
Enough bramble. Counsel for the defense commence to cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord.
Cross-examination, desu ka?
Alright, there's not. I don't have to actually press here. No one cares about this.
Patricia-chan.
Let's see. Collapse, something scattered, and over. Let's see what they saw.
Hold it!
Was it your husband who went to fetch help?
Husband that
No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I am the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling?
What? I guess, that's right. I asked Miss Speak to go. I was off duty by that point, but Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene.
Very laudable, Mr. Beat. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance.
That's why I said Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box.
Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box?
Depends on the crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat, so I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat. The incident fell on her so she could go and report it.
I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know.
And thanks to your
I did annoying.
good acting. And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions therewith.
Oh, please, you're making us blush, isn't he, darling?
I totally accidentally just triggered that.
Two model citizens.
I see.
Breaks his neck every time.
Yes, sir! What Patricia said, sir! Let's move on, shall we?
Kudos examination. That one, press it.
Oh no, I didn't think that was the end of the statement. So that's it, is it? Their entire testimony.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beatley saw what they really saw.
Say what they saw.
Well, Mr. Natsume running away from the scene in Briar Road that day.
But it was foggy.
Yes, I feel the same.
So if that's true, where does it leave us?
Members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after his testimony.
Oh no, then what do we do?
If Kazuma-sama were here,
Kazuma.
What are you trying to say?
I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within
Are you
the
saying he's
testimony.
better than me? What do you mean, somewhere else?
Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if you could help identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them, to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of the day is accurate.
Dang.
Oh, right.
But put simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements somewhere. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion.
Ugh, why do I always seem to be so up against it?
Always.
Okay, so...
Wedding anniversary, they're gonna...
Two silhouettes on the
That
fog
one.
in front.
That one right there.
Laps. No, they're scattered something.
That one, do that
Did we
one.
push this? Press
Nuh-uh,
this?
We didn't.
Okay. But yeah, we don't want to bother pressing about Natsume. Scattered something. What do you mean by that?
So those are silhouettes.
Oh well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time, but then when we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling?
What? Ah, yes, that's right. It was some old books.
I see old books.
Yes, sir. The culprit had dropped a number of them all around where the victim lay on the pavement.
Watch them not be from your books.
Indeed, as clearly as pictured in the photographic.
I mean, they literally give us a
Scattered
list of.
them.
They give us literally a list of which books he bought too, so it'll probably come into play at some point.
Oh, that rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deed.
Hold it. Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. Oh, we saw him! It was the man in the dark without the question, sir. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, that taut mouth, the snub nose, everything. Any more insults you want to throw in?
That's right, he looked down at the poor, defenseless woman with those terrifying, intense eyes, and then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away.
I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here.
May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and
Thank
his
you,
wife.
Betsy. I'm so glad you can reiterate this.
Now please continue.
Yes, sir! Hold it!
We saw two silhouettes.
Two silhouettes.
That's right, they were coming toward us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. There was a rather plump figure followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man. That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume.
Yes, unfortunately it does.
And you're certain that at the time there was nobody else nearby?
Oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there are streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling?
What? Ah, yes, that's right, of course. There was a light fog on the ground, but Briar Road is dead straight, and you could see a fairly long way down the pavement. And there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrian.
Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you've just said?
Yes, sir. As a copper who spends all day every day while keeping watch on the streets.
Oh my god.
I'd swear to it, sir. I'm sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Raleigh!
Oh my god.
They're still maintaining there was no one else around other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened.
It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run.
Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsumi, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly.
Thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. What happened in the crucial moments that follow?
Alright, I want to push this first one, I guess. Maybe they're on a different street.
Yeah.
No time to change after work, you say. Are you also a member of the police, Mrs. Beat?
Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly cannot even apply.
Well, I think you can probably see why children and elderly can't do the job, can't you?
I think Rolly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling?
What? Ah, I just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station, and I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy.
Oh no, Rolly, I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes, I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy.
Kindly adhere to the point you're going for, meal. After you had finished your beat for the day, correct?
That's right, sir. Yes, although I was fit to drop. To be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm proud owner of this, I've served my Queen City and my queen to the end.
Marco City.
What's that now?
Croissant.
Croissant.
My croissant. My warrant card, sir. Proof I'm a London copper. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all us policemen on our sworn duty to patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. Sir! And for such a noble cause I cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without grumble. Because I know that the plodding of my boots is all Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure. So fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then. But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beat puts up a lot of being married to a Bobby like me. I want to show my dear wife how much I care. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rolly. Oh, what a charming couple.
Oh my.
Their young love is such a joy to behold.
A little over the top, perhaps.
And then kindly describe what happened next.
What do you want from me?
I want the dirty details. Where did you take her that night, Rowley? What did you
But
do
surely you
to
wouldn't have
her?
been able to see by his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you?
We absolutely could. Us Londoners have
Oh my
exceptional
gosh.
eyesight. I'll have you
Are you
know.
calling out my eyesight? Right.
The light from the street lamps was more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he?
Yes, and what of the fog?
We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. It's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course.
Oh, it is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm.
Yes, alright, I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about?
The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you, that's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was that little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling?
That's abuse. What? Yes! It was the accused and no mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat, okay. Unmistakable, sir! As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Soseki-san they saw running away from the scene of the crime. Okay, apparently there's a contradictory that I've seen up to this point.
What?
I don't know.
Mr. Lawyer, sir, can
There's
I ask
nothing
you
else.
something?
We've pressed every statement. Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so it seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right? Is it? Well, out with it.
What? No. Oh, no, it's really not that at all.
My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail, everything. Like, oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped?
Oh, please tell me exactly the books the man dropped.
I can tell you the names of every single
I
one.
knew this was gonna come into
every
play.
Single one.
This is what I've been waiting for.
And you dare to question how reliably my testimony is?
That will do Mrs.
No, I won't do it all! That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute that Raleigh will.
I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please put your
My
husband's fist
God.
down.
Perhaps you would like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Mrs. B.
Ball.
My dad repeats you.
Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely.
She just wants to prove how smart she is, how good her memory is.
Wouldn't it, darling?
That one.
Yes, we know that there were books dropped at the scene of the Wait, 4.
It was purchased by the accused at the nearby second-hand bookshop on the day in question.
After I'd been to the police box for help, I decided to have a good look over the area for good measure. I am a proud policeman's wife after all. I did it for Raleigh.
And what was your husband doing at the time?
Oh, sleeping on the sidewalk. Just kidding. Oh,
I mean...
he was lying face down in the snow, getting some well-deserved rest.
Were you kidding though?
He works ever so hard, you know, ever so hard. Don't you, my darling?
Interesting way of guarding the scene of the crime.
Well, Mrs. B, seeing as you've regaled the court with tales of your powers of recollection, would you be so kind as to recount the titles of the books you observed at the scene?
I'd be happy to. Now, are you all listening? There was, the picture of Monsieur somebody or other, and what's it your names? Then there was, a meal for someone, and the last one was definitely the thingamy's something. You see?
Impeccable. Truly. Yes, I see there are one or two holes in your memory.
Oh well, they were along those lines, I'm quite sure.
There were indeed books found at the scene with titles along those lines, as you put it.
Well, what did I tell you? So I think it's very mean the way you've been implying that my testimony can't be trusted. Don't you agree, darling?
Anybody who says my Patricia will have to answer to me! Will have me to answer to!
He pulls out his pistol.
Oh.
Terrifying.
Yes, she really is. So that's it, is it? The entire testimony. Okay, we've heard
What do
this.
you think?
Skibble globble glorp.
Squirry there.
People rap tap crafting. Wait, turn the subtitles back on.
Have we already done all of them?
Scribble twerp.
What? That's not what I want. I didn't want to fetch and fetch.
We went through all this.
Yeah, no, it's just we just have to present the receipt at the. We just have to present the receipt at the last point.
Oh, sorry. I feel like he breaks his neck every.
I know.
Oh, that was the last statement too, so it's even longer. Alright, let's see. E to present. Alright, don't press Q. Do not press Q. Do not press Q. E. Book receipt.
Oh.
Present. So,
What a
you're
boon.
saying that there are 4 books, eh?
Ow! I just bumped my elbow really hard. That's right. I remember all of them. The picture of Monsieur somebody.
Okay,
What's it?
Okay,
earring,
okay,
blah, blah, blah,
okay.
blah, blah, blah.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But there's a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours.
Oh no! What flaw?
Simply that, at the scene of the crime, there are only 3 books, not 4.
What?
This is the receipt from the bookshop where the defendant brought his books.
Your books?
Yes, and it details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. But as you can see, there are only 3 books are listed.
So he stole one. Only 3, but no, that can't be. I remember seeing them. There were 4 books, I tell you, 4 dirty old books.
Oh really? Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime.
Oh. Dang.
As you can clearly see from this evidence as well, there are only 3 books.
But I don't believe it.
Isn't that
I
incriminating?
saw them there. I swear it. I saw them.
Why?
Scene of the murder only has 3 books.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
it's real-
yeah,
books.
yep. No, madam, I'm afraid your powers of observation cannot be relied on.
Wouldn't it be smarter if there was 4 books
No,
there
I think
and we said that
I
there's
think-
only 3?
I think the whole point is maybe something happened in between.
Grrr.
I don't know. So it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! 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 No!
It's plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nipponese friend.
Let's be honest, he's gonna point out exactly what you just talked about. What?
What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused running from the scene. A fact that you know very well you have no hope of disproving.
Ugh.
So you've striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be fair?
He sees right through me.
But your plan is somewhat recoiled against you. Oh, yep.
Yep. What are you talking about? I
It's
have
quite
no
simple.
idea.
Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife in her entirely accurate testimony in every respect.
Entirely accurate in the books.
She's about to explain.
You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found.
Objection, but what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books.
Quite right, only 3 can be seen in that print.
That print, you mean to say there's a second
Oh
photograph?
my, that's the 4th one. Allow me to present another. One that shows the victim's hand.
The Lion's Pride. I don't believe it.
Oh,
Oh, hey, that's
Yeah,
the book. That's the landowner.
and it's burnt.
Yeah,
It's literally burnt.
it's the 4th
Oh
book.
yeah.
Planted evidence. As you will observe, the 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso.
No, no.
There, you see? You see? Look at that! Look! Look! Look!
Dang.
Yes.
It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling?
Yes, sir. Patricia's always right, sir.
Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. Beat the titles once again, if you please.
Oh yes, of course. The picture of Monsieur somebody or other.
The picture of Monsieur Lecoq.
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 What's it, yearnings?
Canterbury Yearnings.
A meal for someone?
A meal for Gaborio, in fact. As the court has just heard, the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly.
Flawlessly.
Save for a few minor details. Mrs. Beat's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional.
Did you hear that, Raleigh? The gentleman paid me a compliment.
Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia is flawless. But there are only 3 books on the receipt, and Miss Beat mentioned 4.
There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly, the 4th book is that which is shown in this photographic print.
I'm sorry, Counsel, but does that not seem odd? Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt?
It's not odd at all, my lord,
It's his own book.
as the photographic print clearly shows the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it
Yes.
belongs to the victim.
The victim was holding her own book? Wow,
It's
that's
freaking
I
burnt.
wonder what became
It's
of that
burnt.
4th book.
It's burnt. Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard.
actually doesn't
I
look
have it
very
here
burnt.
as evidence. Oh, he has it.
Maybe
as evidence.
in the book itself it has her name written or something. Or his name.
You.
Oh, you will submit that in a aforementioned photographic print to the court, please, counsel.
My pleasure, my lord. The fourth book. Examine it. Hold on, examine it. Let's go.
Let's go. I got it.
The prosecution rests. It's
Yes.
burnt. Da-ba-dee-da-ba.
Can't find anything out of place.
Da-ba-dee-da.
There we go.
Aha! Can't find anything out of place.
The waste finding me.
Oh, look at this. The book has been badly burnt.
You're right. You'd never be able to read it in this day, especially not the latter pages.
What a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently.
A book recently damaged by fire. Why does that seem to raise a red flag with me?
Present.
What am I presenting?
The
Wouldn't that
scorched-
just...
Well, I mean, like, where am I presenting it? Like, what statement? Like, why?
I don't know. Okay, but it's gonna come up.
Oh,
I have nothing to
no,
talk
I
about.
don't know. What? What?
You seem surprised, my learned friend.
What did he say? I have nothing further to add. Okay.
But your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. The spurious longer route to the accused lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination.
Futile? I walked right into this, didn't I?
You see, everything we've said is true.
Shut up.
Isn't that right, my darling?
Huh?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
yes, Pat! Marry me, Pat!
So perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions? Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You have heard all the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. This trial has run its course.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid we are in terribly precarious position.
I know, but if I fight back in the wrong way now, it could very well just make matters worse. Think, Ryunosuke, think. What do you do now?
Raise objection.
I think like that was a hint to not raise an objection. I'm not done yet.
No, my learned friend, it's over. You understand what that words mean? The last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed.
The die. Oh.
Omae wa mo shinderu. The die has been cast. There's no more room for debate.
Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but
Gomen is high, Mr.
Oh.
Naruhodo.
I can't think of what to say.
If I may, Lord Van Zieks, it seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point.
I think the trial must be a lawless hole indeed. For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this.
Oh?
Susato, take down this guy.
I am dying to my shame. Still a very inexperienced liar.
Liar.
Lawyer.
Oh, what a Freudian slip.
So you'll have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinion invaluable.
Mr.
That should be the title
Naruhodo,
for this thing. I'm still a very inexperienced liar.
One of this land's great guiding principles is tolerance. So the court will hear you, madam. Tolerably.
Go ahead, Mrs. Sato, please.
Very well, pray, what insight can you give us? What have we all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further?
Well, the court has been presented with the new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination finished.
I see. You would hear that this new evidence warrants further examination.
How many times are they gonna
Mr. Naruhodo,
react?
what do you think?
T.
It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been waiting for.
It is.
The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. And
Oh my
of
gosh,
course,
just get to the point.
he's sure to ask you to explain the crucial
piece of evidence is and why. So we must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as
Almost
thoroughly as
as-
They
possible.
just go so in depth with these sentences.
Yes, I understand.
I know.
Wow, I had no idea, Mr. Sato. This is it. Mr. Sato-san has managed to win us one last chance here. Alright, let me present. I can't let it go to waste. The defense wishes to present something.
Very well. The defense may present one further piece of evidence.
Alright.
Ah.
Take that! The evidence in question is what we can see from the newly presented photographic print of the crime scene. The fourth book found in the victim's hand.
Objection. We have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter would be a flagrant waste of the court's time, as you well know.
Yes, I'm afraid, counsel, I must concur with the prosecution on this matter. When I afforded you this opportunity,
I didn't think you wasted.
you led the court to believe that the evidence question contained a hitherto undiscovered clue. So I must insist that you elaborate, counsel. You will identify this clue at once. No, make myself clear.
Oh, yes, my lord. It's,
Mr. Naruhodo, I believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence, which means you may very well be on the right track.
yes, I think you may be right. Might be right. Must be right.
So, counsel, precisely where is the vital clue to this case which this fourth book conceals?
Huh, I don't know.
No idea. Got it. I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question.
The back? What? You good gracious! It's burned to a crisp!
So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? I mean, I would say it's unreadable. It is undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Objection!
Unnatural, you say? And what of it, my Nipponese friend?
Oh.
Why, to concede the point, if it bears no relation to the case, there is nothing to discuss. So should you wish to assert that this fire damage is some veiled clue as to what happened that day, pray do enlighten us all. What truth does this charred book hide? I knew that they wouldn't have that whole setup beforehand for no reason.
A chart? Of course they wouldn't.
It's even crazy.
There's just one possibility here, which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. It's an outside chance, certainly, but worth a try. Alright, I'll explain my theory.
Don't keep us waiting any longer then, counsel. Explain this theory of yours.
Well,
What are you suggesting you can ascertain from the fire damage the sorry tome has suffered?
Owner.
its own.
Yeah, because we know who owns the book, actually. My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's owner.
But we already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping it in her hand as she fell to the floor after all. It's obviously hers.
The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hand has yet to be answered. However, as to the questions of who the book really belongs to and where it originated, the defense has very credible answers.
Good gracious, how can you possibly?
Very well, I'll play along in this future attempt to delay your inevitable demise. Do remember, the members of the jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes awry.
He did. Alright, where is...
that guy.
There we go. Moon Man. John Garadib.
Was it his or the chick's?
His.
He was saying how it was his favorite book. No truth, he's stalling, buying time, book is bait. Welcome back to the stream. The
Part
answer, part 2, is that the book belonged to the couple who owned... The answer is that the book belonged to the couple who owned the house where the defendant has his lodgings. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garadib.
The landlords.
And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know, but
Of all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for the jury duty in this courtroom today is none other than Mrs. Garrett herself.
Oh my goodness, me? I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mr. Garrideb's wife. I'm his maid.
Things would be so much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garrideb's house?
I would never presume to know all the books and he keeps, sir.
Trial should be over. Wasn't the person already
This is
speaking?
outlandish
I know.
behavior. This woman is the accused landlady, you say. You implicate this hard-working member of the public. You besmirch her without a shred of evidence.
Oh my gosh.
Your actions are unforgivable.
I've already proven this. That was a whole trial in and of itself. This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, of course, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's house.
What sort of incident, Captain?
A fire, my lord.
Oh, is this me?
Sorry to say it was.
Right to say it was. Up on the brink of an eye, you know. What is this freaking voice?
Forget what his wife is.
Whole place filled with smoke, couldn't see a bloody thing. Didn't take long for the fire spread, of course. Body furniture started going up as well.
I mean, this technically
I think he just
flashback.
busted it.
It's fine, it's a flashback.
I don't know what this was. Oh, dang, he is angry. The lion's pride.
By Jove! The very same title that's the subject of this debate!
Oh dear me.
This is risible? All you've told the court is that a book by the same name was involved in a fire. In which case it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes.
Risible, such as to provoke laughter. It's like a joke. This is a joke.
And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself to the scene of the crime.
Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the cause of the fire was marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garrideb was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mr. Garrideb even amid the flames.
Oh, how awful. I can't even imagine being so horrid to the one you love. Can you, Rolly?
Absolutely not, sir! My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir! Never! And have not abused at all! Alright, this is also a recap, it's
Hello,
fine.
sort of, that was it.
It's
Wish up
fine.
and smoke.
We've seen this.
There was back up against the wall, The man had his back up against the window and he had burning books thrown at him. Goodness gracious, are you suggesting that the book was thrown through the window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
No, a thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted at the very evening of the incident, and there was no report of the Garrideb's window pane being broken.
That's quite true. We also saw no sign of broken glass when we visited the Garrideb household. But is it not conceivable that the window was open at the time and...
Not even remotely.
Impossible!
Maybe they opened
Windows
the
being
window when the
open!
smoke was.
Let us not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter.
Oh, well, impossible, I guess, then.
Does the defense postulate this scenario? No seriousness, counsel?
My face this entire trial. I'm clicking on it. Go to site. Oh my gosh. You gotta put that in the... Oh wait, it's not in it.
Yeah, it's too hard to pull in.
Do you earnestly claim the book found in the scene was a flaming projectile thrown by Mr. Garrideb's wife?
It scared me. Like, did I end it again? Did I end it again?
No, it's good.
No.
It's good.
Okay.
No,
You know, I was
how
gonna use the
somehow
mouse.
clicked on that thing. Yeah, I literally moved.
Well,
the
no,
mouse
so I
over.
pressed space. So it's like if you clicked on the application and I pressed space, like the space might have ended the stream. I believe it's a possibility, my lord.
I'm just gonna use the mouse from now on. I'm too scared from it ending to end it again.
Premature.
That's quite enough. Who is it? The Moon Man? Oh, it's the wife.
Oh.
Well, I hope that everyone can see you for what you are now. You little foreign trickster. You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward. A mean coward.
Really?
Claiming that our little tip set the whole neighborhood alight. Honestly. Implying that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearance's sake. How could you? It's nothing to do with this beastly case, not any of it. All you've done is sully our family's name.
No, I assure you that was never my intention.
Dragging an upstanding citizen's name through the mud simply to divert attention from your failing defense. I should box your ears, that's what I should do. It's utterly unforgivable.
Too right.
Here we go.
How long have we sat here now, listening to this Nipponese spouting out his fancy foreign theories? But think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could possibly have stabbed the victim is that little hunchback with the mustache. And he ran away from the scene, too.
I do declare you're right.
It's true.
Yes, what did I tell you?
Makes sense to me.
Sorry? What's that?
Well,
Oh,
Regensblecken.
it would appear that the
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Van Six?
Oh my gosh, another challenge.
In truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings.
This guy must be filthy rich,
Does he
honestly.
ever
But
drink
then
it?
one must
No,
always
barely,
exercise
baby.
patience in order to savor the best vintage.
No, wait. The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been.
Oh my gosh.
He's done that before.
If books are your predilection, my learned friend, study them on your own time. Predilection?
Predilection. Alright, a preference or special liking to something. Like hobby.
This game
Your
is
kink?
too intense for us.
His kink? What? No, forgive
That
the
would be
discourtesy this time?
In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now state your individual decisions regarding the defendant's culpability for the court to hear.
Alright, we're finally done.
Guilty.
Listen.
Guilty.
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 Oh wow. Guilt. Wow. He
I
sounds
got his
not
voice
as
kind
deep
of
as I thought it'd be.
Yeah. Goodness.
Back at square zero.
Thank you for that unambiguous response.
That's twice now. It's over. I think that's you.
Mr. Naruhodo, don't give up.
Mr. Sato?
Have you forgotten? Battle isn't over yet.
You're not suggesting I go again?
Of course, the defense has the right to another summation examination at this point.
Never ends.
You can still convince the jurors to change their minds. You have one more chance.
Nope, our seventh jurors proclaimed guilty. It's over now. GG, stream over.
Stream over.
Time to go to the pub.
Goodness.
My lord, the defense has to exercise its
Oh
rights
my
to a summation
goodness.
examination.
You believe you still have tricks up your sleeve.
I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and determined.
This is so long.
Ah,
This
nice.
is
Oh,
my.
yeah.
We've finished part
That is a
1
complaint. Holy
of 5 of this case.
There's 5 parts
I
to this
don't,
game?
I don't know.
Oh, they just stretch it out. They just milk it for
The
so long.
milk it.
I just almost prefer if they just like kind of got to the point, you know.
Almost prefer you make it sound like there's an option for that. All right, I'm gonna grab myself a drink at this point. Oh my gosh, let's see. Can't wait until the defendant is proven guilty 10 more times. Then Susato is going to tell Naruhodo to not give up.
I'm gonna show him the gif of the thing.
How? Okay, yeah, you figured out a GIF. That's an image.
Sorry, the image.
This is Advent Guard's reaction
Ready?
to
Image.
Just download it.
Download. Okay. Oh, you send it to this PC. Go to this PC.
There it is. Yep, there it is.
Just give me the glue. Who is this?
It's Colton.
Oh.
So,
You can continue it. Go ahead.
you want to continue it? You don't want to call it there? We're finishing it out?
You want to call there?
Oh my goodness.
If I was gonna call there, I would have been in the stream. What time is it?
It's 9.
It's only 9.
We've been going for 2.5 hours.
Alright.
Let's see. Just give me the glizzy. It's like I'm there in the stream. I can't believe I'm featured in Cosmos stream. Mom, look at me now. Alright.
I've considered the defense's counsel for a request for summation examination of the jury. And I have determined that the court must uphold the defense's judicial right to this procedure. So, counsel, you will now proceed with your second summation examination. I presume the jury is ready, Mr. Foreman.
We are Mr. Joe Sturp. Oh, you might want to check out your camera.
Are you gonna put it back?
Just click the image off, just...
Delete.
No, don't delete it now.
Goodbye.
Ah.
Oh, goodbye, Isaburo.
Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you now to state clearly and concisely for the court the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of this crime.
I was looking at the name of your soap, and it's called 1,000 Wishes. And I don't know what that smells like, but I guess this is what it smells like.
I have this.
What is this? You guys are drinking more chocolate milk than I am.
The accused left behind evidence of the scene, didn't he?
Oh, this
Those 3 books of his.
If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the
Oh my
victim was
gosh.
stabbed, I might reconsider.
Even if the woman is throwing books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it?
The burrow, no! Leak's dead again!
Oh,
Spoilers!
Freaking
That is such a heavy
spoilers!
spoiler!
Spoiler!
I can't manage comments from here. Alright.
Oh no.
Can't be
He's
late.
dead again.
Dearie me, it was only a little book. Hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit.
Okay, that's your statement? We can totally...
Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay tonight, I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble.
Come to think of it, we had fire at home a while ago. It gave me the sneezes.
Okay, so
It's just such a branded jury.
let's be honest, if I'm in the jury and Naruto keeps up this clout, I'm voting guilty no matter the evidence. Message retracted.
Message retracted.
That's why I'm the mod.
That's really funny.
Yes, considerably more tangible arguments from all members of the jury this time around, it seems.
With one notable exception, of course.
My learned student friend was unable to find fault in the previous witness testimony. So the court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene. And moreover, oh my gosh, no one else was even at the scene to commit the crime.
Well, if the eyewitnesses are correct, it would seem as if their conclusion is somewhat set in stone. I fail to see how it can be argued any other way.
That means I'm afraid that during this summation examination, it's essential.
Whoa!
It's essential that you establish some other tangible explanation for the facts.
But how? What would even constitute a tangible explanation here?
Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman and how? Those 2 details are all you need to provide. Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was conducted.
Mr. Garrett was an expert knife thrower. He threw a knife right out the window. And there I was, thinking this might be hard.
But Mr. Naruhodo, you have to do it. Otherwise, this really will be where the trial ends.
Oh, no pressure then.
Under pressure.
That's quite enough preamble. Proceed with the summation examination, please. I presume you're prepared, Counsel?
Oh, yes, my lord. Alright, Minosuke, time to focus your mind now. Clearly, the key to this summation examination is going to be the juror number 4, the maid, or should I say Mrs. Garadeb.
I have a book that disappeared from the Garadeb's house on the evening of the incident, and the 4th book found in the victim's hand.
There must be a way to link the two. Yes, that's what we have to find. By using every technique I've learned from in my short career so far, whatever it takes. You've got this, Naruhodo. Susato believes in you. See? No one else does, though, apparently.
Don't forget to keep an eye on Mrs. Garadeb and how she reacts, even to the things other people say.
Oh my gosh.
Alright, time to press. So easy. Alright, here we go.
Juror examination.
Alright. Turn of explanation.
You have to listen to him and watch her
Well,
reaction.
It can't be related to this crime if the window was closed. Let's press this. Maybe the window wasn't closed. But what about the possibility the window was open?
What about it? I mean, there's just no way that it could have been.
How can you be so sure?
The prosecutor fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Winters in London's not no joke. You don't want to invite in that sort of cold indoors. So no, that window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting by the fire staying warm, you see?
But you couldn't categorically state that the window wasn't open, could you?
It just wasn't. They wouldn't have opened it.
Then what's the point of even having windows, huh?
Counsel, you will kindly refrain from childish bickering.
Sorry. Somehow I need to show there's an undeniable possibility that the window was open. Because this young man isn't going to budge otherwise. They should have also trial with Susato just chads up and just solves the entire case without the player.
That'd be funny. Chad's up.
Should I press them?
Yeah,
Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Press it.
Press this freaking.
But the little book was on fire at the time, was it not?
With flames of love, I'll have you know.
But there's really no such thing as a loving incendiary bomb, I gotta tell ya.
Smacks out of
Well,
it.
he brought it upon himself. It's playing with fire to betray a fiery love, isn't it? Well, don't you agree?
Oh, well, any kind of betrayal is certainly a bad thing, yes. Oh, that's right, there's the letter with the,
The book.
yeah. There's some book where it
I
was.
think there's a book.
I don't
That
know.
has,
It was
like,
a letter
for
written
my
to,
love.
it was a letter written to someone.
In
but
a
it wasn't
book.
even to him, yeah. But I think the argument might have arisen
he
out of your
found the
misunderstanding, Mrs. Garadeb.
Never you mind that. The point is, we were just having a what is that?
Jovial.
Little dispute, nothing more.
No reaction after getting smacked.
And I won't have any more of these suggestions that it was anything whatsoever to do with this crime.
Right, well, we'll see about that. What about juror number 5? He doesn't seem to be turning a hair at Mr. Garadeb's relentless onslaughts.
It's almost as though he's used to it. What a gentle soul he is.
Hold it. You just want to get this over with? Okay, how can you sit there and say something like that? Oh, hey, I was wondering what that might have missed. A man's future at stake here. It's basically the same thing they were saying earlier. Well, him and me both at stake, as I said before. What? I told you already. I'm a daily laborer, aren't I? I don't bring home some readies with me tonight. No, I'd actually love it if the trial was just a troll trial and the guy was actually guilty and just stabbed the girl and ran off.
Oh my.
You'll find me floating face down in the Thames tomorrow morning.
But our last trial was
What?
a troll trial. It was the dude all along.
You heard me, my missus isn't one to mess about, you know. She can be fierce, believe you me.
Another shining example of Meritoblis, then.
A situation like this cropped up the other day. It was, well, you know, it's funny, I can't quite remember.
Sorry?
It was too frightening, that's the thing. I must have blocked it out.
Oh my
Helpful.
gosh.
I wonder if Mr. Beat will ever be dragged into the things by his scarf.
Don't even go there, Musato. Don't even joke about that. There must be some way to jog his memory about this.
Why does it matter?
I think he has to do with the letter that we found.
I don't know
Elvis
why we're
Evans
investigating
somebody.
6 witnesses who are actually just a jury.
Don't
Who
ask-
should not even be.
Don't ask. This is how London worked back in the day. Do I even press this? Whatever. Does that have anything to do with your decision about the defendant's culpability in this case?
Sorry? Wait. Sorry, what's that? You'll have to speak up, lad.
Could you tell us more about that fire?
It was last winter. My grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on my birthday. It had 75 candles on the top. It did. What a sight to behold it was.
You put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship?
Oh, of course not. It was an angel cake. To celebrate my birthday, obviously.
It seems that's a common custom here in Great Britain, Mr. Naruhodo.
Devil worshipper. Back.
Anyway, I mustered all of my puff to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong somehow. The flames didn't go out, but candles went flying
Wow.
all over the room.
This guy must have impressive
What
lungs.
the freak?
The furniture caught and everything went up. The whole place filled with smoke.
Wow, that lung capacity at 75.
I know.
Could you imagine that?
Definitely sounds
No,
like
that's
devil
all
worship
that-
to me.
It'd be a funny video.
And by sneeze, I presume you mean a cold, but how did you catch a cold from a fire?
What a fiasco it was. The grandchildren, bless them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the flames. And then, because the whole room had filled up with smoke, of course, well, had to open all the windows to clear
Alright,
it.
that's actually my thing, yep.
That's what I was
There
gonna
it
say.
is.
So I opened the window because of smoke.
The biting winter air rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave, it did. I caught a terrible cold from it. It put me in hospital for a while. I won't forget that birthday in a hurry.
So him with the kid. Put them together.
Yeah.
Yep. I knew it was devil worship all along. Something about this old man's story is playing on my mind for some reason.
Have you thought,
What do you
Mr.
want to say
Naruhodo-san,
too?
that maybe they could have opened the window because of the fire? Oh yes, that hadn't occurred to me, Miss Susan. That literally that's the writing for this game.
As well as how he or she could have done it.
Yes, but once again, the jurors' statements are full of personal prejudice. A lot of them seem convinced they're right, even in the face of logical arguments to the contrary.
I think a good idea is to pit them against each other to force them to accept an alternative explanation.
Yes. I don't necessarily need to find a contradiction between their positions. Just a connection might do the trick. Alright, I'll see what I can do. If anything stands out, I'll go in for the strike.
Just compare. I already solved it for you.
That's the spirit.
Compare the two.
I know.
Just saying.
Go back.
Objection!
Objection! These two jurors clearly contradict one another. I mean, they don't contradict. They do. How exactly, counsel?
Oh, Thomas, you want a high cheek?
I'm good. Don't point at me again. I told you it wasn't me.
What'd you say? Speak up, lad, speak up!
Juror number 3, do you see? Did you hear juror number 6's account of his birthday celebrations last year? His devil worship. It seems despite being a Londoner, he once opened his windows in the middle of winter.
Well, yes, of course, because it was an emergency, you stupid Dumbo. I mean, obviously, the room filled with smoke from a fire, then you'd be mad not to open the...
Yes! Exactly. On the day in question, at the time of the incident, there was a fire in the Garrett household, and Mr. Garrett had the following to say about it. The whole place was filled with smoke.
Oh my!
Oh, did you hear her say that?
Oh,
Pursue. Excuse me. Juror number 4, do you have something to say about that? She's downing that tea.
Holy crap.
Mrs. Garrett.
Oh, dear me. What is the meaning of that? You gave me ice cream during my part.
Sorry.
How
dare you imply that I'm harder than who I really am?
It's imperative that you confirm something for the court. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now.
What is it?
When the fire started in your house that day, did you or your husband open the window?
What? I beg your pardon? What are you? Are you insinuating?
The whole room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet and bookcase caught fire as they did. In a situation like that, it's inconceivable that you wouldn't have opened the window.
And what if we did? Oh, right then. Yes, you're right. My husband was frantically trying to open the window, which can't have been easy since I continued to give him a justly deserved book battering.
Even though your house was on fire?
Oh, you never stop throwing until the anger subsides. It would be terribly bad for the nerves to do otherwise.
Oh, of course. I should have realized.
My goodness.
That's a significant step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. You've managed to establish that the window was open. You simply must have added to Mrs. Garadeb's formal statement. We must have that added.
So it was open at the time. It was open at the time. I mean, do we just pick these two now?
Yeah.
The window could have been open.
Boom, boom. There it is. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, he's saying it's
the
a possibility.
window in the room was open. Yeah, I told you.
So they're agreeing.
Yeah, it's true. I guess they are contradictory. Yep, never mind. Oh. Alright, nonsense. What's educated man?
No contradiction.
Yes, floor man. Alright, alright.
What? How was that wrong?
It's
Because
because they
they-
were both agreeing
Yeah,
that the window
like-
was open.
All this
It's
his
very
face
important to
was
listen
his
carefully to every
face when he had
germ
the
scenario.
recitation.
Then you can decide where the contradiction is. What's wrong?
Okay. The woman was throwing books. An alternative explanation for how the victim was stabbed. That's not it.
Get the art in it. That's
3
the
books.
sticky note.
Do the 3 books.
With what?
The first guy
And what?
saying then the windows were open now, so now they know that they could have thrown the book through the window that was open. So the first guy with one of the was probably the old lady.
Use left part evidence. Those 3 books of his.
3 books.
I
And there's the 4th book through the window, right?
don't know if he's saying
Now
anything
that
about
they-
it.
Yeah, but he's saying there's 3 books.
Hold on, can you go through them again?
I'm gonna press.
Crap.
But as we know now, there are 4 books, not 3.
Oh, well, what difference does it make?
There's every possibility that the 4th book belongs to the defendant's landlord.
Yes, that's part of I have a problem with.
Sorry?
Well, at the point the woman was stabbed, this landlord fellow was at home, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrap with his wife or something, you know?
That's not exactly how I put it, no.
Well, anyway, the point is the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened. I think that's what you call a strong alibi. So it couldn't have been the landlord who did it, which only leaves the Nipponese fellow. Honestly, I can't see what all this palaver is about. It's a done deal, isn't it?
I suppose it is, since I have nothing witty left to say.
Wait,
Yeah, I don't-
is the chick and the husband were both there? They could have done it.
What do you mean? Oh,
The policeman.
yeah. I don't actually even know what to pick. So I don't think I pressed second person yet. I don't think I pressed her.
Yeah, we haven't done her yet. Do it.
Right. So you might be willing to change your decision, you mean?
Oh my, such delight on your face. But I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotion. Despite what you may think of me, I am very modern, metropolitan, rational woman.
That's great. That's great.
If one reads the new morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So why read them in the first place? You see, modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say?
And not at all extreme.
As I see it, an overwhelmingly suspicious Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelmingly strong testimony. So despite 1 or 2 minor puzzlements, I do declare that the man is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say?
Overwhelmingly.
But us modern gals are always delighted to embrace new fads, you know. So I'd be only too happy to consider an exciting new theory if you can come up with one.
I'd be happy to do that too, if only I could. She also hates foragers, especially Asians like that Cosmos or Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Let's do our very best not to disappoint the modern and metropolitan young lady.
Metropolitan.
Right, I'm glad you
Metropolitan.
omitted the rational there.
Metropolitan.
Charlatan.
I don't know why I can't say that word. Metropolitan.
Alright, let's think. Window open when the woman was throwing books. Window's open. It's over with. The open windows clear smoke. Okay, I'm thinking I just try pitting the first guy against someone. Probably the maid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Do you have a better idea?
No.
I'm kind of stuck here right
That's
now.
weird.
Hold it.
Oh, never mind. Nope.
Alright.
Uh-oh.
3 lives left.
I'll be in a tiny bit
I
of
wanna
trouble.
press this guy again. I wonder if I'll get a new reaction now. At the point when the victim was attacked on Briar Road, we know there's a small house fire in the Garrett household on the opposite side of the street.
Well, yeah, it's turning the seem that way. I kind of smoke. I imagine we had one was right on the cold.
We also know that Miss Garrett was throwing flaming books at her husband. She's stuck because the person's already been declared guilty, like 5 times. Her husband, who was backed into the corner by the window due to his wife's frenzied attack. GG, go to the pub, please.
Yes, that's right. So there's definitely a chance that one of the books could have flown past the man and out of the window. Only
what?
I mean, I can't really see how it could have gone all the way over to the other side of the road, that's all.
Ah.
Other side of the road.
So I don't really see how I can change my decision, really.
Oh, I see. That wasn't enough. What is it gonna take to persuade these people?
What does he say on the, what does he say now?
Same thing. It's the window could have been open. Possibility.
What about this, the other guy? This guy. I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble.
Doesn't bring home pay.
Okay, yeah.
But we need to jog his memory, they were saying.
Yeah.
Pit him against the chick.
Ooh.
Her.
Her?
No, the
Her?
because she slapped.
Objection.
Again?
Hold it.
Uh-oh.
We're done for. We're done for.
Uh-oh.
Gotta go to the pub. Where's my slice of life episode with the headband guy who died in the 2nd chapter?
Wait, what happens if we lose all of our lives?
We lose.
literally
We lose.
everything?
You restart the trial.
Go to the next guy again.
What the freak? Have we already pressed everyone?
Well, I'm wondering if to press people again, because now they technically have new statements
Yeah,
now,
so
right?
press a new one.
So I'm pressing new people. 4th book found in scene of crime shows very obvious signs of fire damage, and the title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Garrett told us he had been reading.
Well, I really couldn't say.
On the day in question, did you or did you not throw at your husband the copy of The Lion's Pride that he had been reading?
I did. It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled it straight at him. And now you come to mention it, yes. He was rather enjoying reading it, you're right.
Why did you not reveal this information to the court from the outset?
Because I couldn't, you insolent little man, I didn't remember. At times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on, as well, you know.
Ace Attorney needs to mix in more elements like Gintama. I really don't.
I barely noticed I was staring a book, much less the title of it.
Oh,
Pursue. I don't know how you're reminded, but pursue it. What is it, juror number 5? You know something? I remember what it was. The memory I blocked out. Ah. I was listening to what this granny was saying. Brought it all flooding back.
Who are you calling a granny, you cheeky devil? I'm Mrs. Scaredabble, or the maid. I'll have you know.
The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that that's not because he's so used to being hit all the time. It was about 2 weeks ago now. I just got back home after work, I put my hand in my pocket for the wages I just earned that day and I nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny had dropped out. Oh dear, what a disaster. You haven't heard the half of it, boy. Oh. The wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her straight. I've lost the day's wages, love. Next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear, stuck into the wall next to me, it did, about an inch deep. No words, just terror. I could smell it then, you know, that god-awful stench of the blades. I was sure I was going to end up face down in the muddy banks that night, I can tell you. Now that's a real disaster, isn't it?
That's
I'll
so
never
random
use the word
to
lightly
bring up.
Yo,
again.
what if she threw a knife out the window, hit the person?
No,
Accidental
it said it was in the wheel. It said it was stuck in the wall. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When women lose their rag, they'll throw anything
What if she
at
threw a
you.
knife out the window and it hit the lady? The other girl, and throwing...
Knives, hatchets, hammers, you name it.
Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't think that all women are so short-tempered and unrefined.
Says the person who throws me every chance they get. No, I wasn't thinking that.
Throwing household objects at people is, well, it's so uncivilized.
But throwing people at household objects, now that.
At least attack with honor. Use a bow or the like.
What? Attack? Who are you going to attack?
Never mind. Anyway, this man's words could be rather significant, I think.
Alright, we'll come back to the bow and arrow thing later, if I dare.
Anything at you.
Maybe... that... No, compare his with his. Like,
The little boy.
yeah.
What about
Little
this?
There's some...
Oh,
Oh, yeah, do it. Yeah, that's good.
There we go.
There it is.
There we go.
Yada yada, that's it. You mean they don't contradict each other? Explain council elements.
Juror number 2, do you think perhaps that this could be one such novel alternative? Susato is the murderer.
Oh my! Whatever do you mean?
An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed in the back. Guilty.
What are you talking about?
We've demonstrated that the fourth book, The Lion's Pride, that was found at the scene of the crime, originated in Mr. Garadib's room on the top floor of his house. Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have been found its way from the Garadib household to the street below.
What's that now?
After all, Mrs. Garadib could have thrown any number of different objects at her husband.
Oh my
Isn't that right, juror number 4?
What are you insinuating now, you little beanpole?
Beanpole!
I'm beginning to think that ever since that true origins of this book came to light, perhaps she's had a feeling that this might be what happened.
Now you listen here, you Eastern... Wait.
Gala.
Now you listen here, you Eastern Gala. As the foreman of this jury, I demand a straight answer. You give us this yarn... You give us this yarn about some other object making its way to the house. But what? What was it?
That was a bird, like literally just a type of bird. I'm really taking a big gamble here. That was a bold accusation to make, but I haven't any evidence to back it up, I think. But I'm certain that at the very least this warrants further investigation. Lamau, imagine if she actually did it, throw the knife out the window and hit her. I mean, that's kind of what we're leaning towards. Alright, Mr. Foreman, I'll try to explain the defense's theory. The other object that found its way from the Garadib household to the scene of the crime was... Juror number 4, Mrs. Garadib.
What? What now?
I must apologize in advance for this. But I need you to confirm something else for the court. This knife. Have you ever seen this knife before?
Your law counsel, what on earth are you doing? It's the weapon that was launched into the victim's back, man!
It's still so weird that they say man.
My lord, remember that when the victim was attacked, Mr. and Mrs. Garadib were in throes of an argument. Mrs. Garadib was hurling anything she could at her husband, who had backed up against the window, a window that had been opened to clear the smoke, through which a book sailed to land at the crime scene.
You can't seriously believe that. The book was found in the victim's grasp.
Are you saying that it flew out the window across the street to land neatly in her hand?
Huh. Even my missus hasn't got a name like that.
Garadib, murderer, guilty. Yes, I understand. There are many details we don't yet understand. Man, you sway just as easily as the jury.
Colton over here.
But that's the point. That's precisely why.
We must not allow this trial to end. Not right now.
Oh my!
Mrs. Garrett, your answer, please. Have you seen this knife before or not? Guilty.
He disappeared. Just kidding.
I wish to change my decision. I'm a woman of my word after all.
Thank you, madam.
Yes, I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end now with so many unanswered questions.
Mr. Foreman. I'd have to agree. Not that I think that the granny didn't mind.
Yes, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this moment either.
All together now, ladies and gents.
The old man is just like not.
Yeah, the old man could have easily just been sure.
We did it again. Oh boy, here we go.
Oh,
again.
congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo.
Now we're back to square one.
I know.
From
So
square
as all
zero.
of the defense's summation examination, a number of jurors' leanings have changed.
I changed my vote from guilty to I hate foreigners. Oh my, that's fair, you know.
2 jurors called guilty against 4 now calling innocent. Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided, and his trial will continue.
What a stupid mechanic. To be continued, part 5.
Now then, Lord Van Siegs, how does the prosecution wish to proceed?
Oh, he mad. He about to throw.
He's got a crush it in his hand.
What is this, number 5?
This
6.
trial is rapidly descending into a farce.
Oh, he drank it
Oh.
and didn't crush it.
Like a corked wine, the first few sips are bitter enough.
Nope.
No, there it is. But what follows is so repugnant it's good for nothing save the gutter.
That is a sturdy candelabra, I guess? At least the glass on it.
If I may, Lord Van Zeeks, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened.
Credible. Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defendant's argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond. But let me start by insisting that you must all familiarize yourselves better with the relative positions of those places being discussed.
What do you mean by that? What's his angle this time?
It ought to be more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Gardev household runs a rather wide street, Briar Road. Which means that the distance from the Gardeb's house to the scene is some, 15 yards.
Let me see. 15 yards, that's around 14 meters.
14 meters? Oh, that's a little further than I imagined.
And as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted as having portentous significance,
You know, there's clearly a quarterback, you know? They've been trading you that arm.
the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smoldering book wantonly hurled by the lady of the house traveled some 15 yards.
Alright, the lady found the book on the ground, was so devastated, found
And
the knife
looked
on
it
the
up.
ground, she stabbed herself. She committed suicide.
Or maybe she just
Sudoku.
like found the
To
book and
land
picked
on the
it up and
opposite
then
side
got
of the
stabbed.
road, neatly
Or stunned
between
by
the
the-
collapsed victim's fingers and thumb. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend?
She's yoked.
Well, the book was thrown first
Mrs. Garadev has
She
a
walks over
throwing
to the
arm.
book.
and picks it up and then gets
She
stabbed.
sees the knife flying out the window. She turns to run away from it. It's down, falls down.
Or she could be bending down to pick up the book and then got stabbed.
And did the jackknife follow a near identical trajectory to plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots. Take a nap.
There's nothing I can say to that.
Oh.
That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice.
Now, do you know? Mrs. Sato.
Yes.
Serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they? How dare he?
Maybe let's pick our battles here.
My lord, might I be allowed to speak?
As judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense. Yes, go ahead.
The prosecution may consider the idea a fantasy, but what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has a duty to explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. To that end, juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garrida, must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination.
Saints alive! A cross-examination of a juror!
Ah, we weren't even doing that anyway.
I know, literally. Hope so.
Sato chads up, solves the case.
There it is.
Finds herself guilty.
Order, order! Well, this is a highly irregular. It is unprecedented for a member of the jury to be summoned to the witness stand.
Objection!
There it goes. And unnecessary.
Lord and sakes!
There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimony the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend's farcical theory has any truth in it, then both a burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before this couple's eyes. And we must assume they would be able to testify accordingly.
What say you witnesses?
Rolly, say something.
Yes, sir. Constable Rolly B. Reporting for duty, sir.
His music.
Well, good morning, officer.
Sorry for dozing until now, sir. I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir.
Oh, they're so heroic, these London bobbies.
Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more. Oh,
Oh, Raleigh, my hero, you make me swoon.
Very well, I hereby reject the defense's request.
Oh,
Savage.
I order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. Step forward before the court any
This is
details
just
pertaining
going
to
in
the defense's alternative explanation of events.
yes, sir.
What are you talking about? This is riveting.
This case has nothing to do with Mr. and
Oh
Mrs. Garrett.
my
Believe me, a
gosh.
London Bobby is good for his word.
he doesn't even know what he's talking about.
You see,
He's
sir,
like,
the windows on the top floor of the Garrett houses are top hinged casements.
Obviously, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it.
I swooned for Rolly too.
I did leave the scene. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed.
she left the scene.
I didn't take my eye off the crime scene
Yeah,
for a moment,
right.
sir.
He was
Nothing
on the
strange
ground
to report on that
asleep.
front.
Well, this is quite startling. Top hinged casement windows.
That detail was not in the police report, Constable.
Ah, yes, sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy.
You cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable.
No, sir. Sorry, but what exactly is a top hinged casement window?
I don't even know.
Yep.
And you.
Top hinged, like maybe it's like.
You cannot
Oh.
excuse your ignorance with
I don't know.
such trite remarks, my learned friend.
Of course, sorry.
I found it, Mr. Naruhodo.
Of course you did.
Cast your mind back to the windows in Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's room.
Alright, I'll try. Photographic memory, here we go.
So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. But as it's a
So
top-hinged
the
casement
angle.
window, it swings open along the upper edge, you see?
I'm glad you've rectified your ignorance. The casement window's most prominent feature is its stay, a metal bar which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount.
It prevents it from opening. This is all news to me.
Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife would have been thrown through the open window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below.
Okay, the only question, I really do think it's, they came over there and went straight down and they died there. Question is how that guy was still standing and collapsed in front of Soseki-san. No.
Yeah, how do they know they weren't like directly below and not like
You see, the
across
problem
street,
then,
like-
good, your education in Windows is complete. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane had been shattered, something we've discounted already.
That can't be.
Oh my. I'm rooting for Van Seek.
Did you see that, Raleigh? That young Japanese man just collapsed in agony.
Oh yes, my darling, I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before me.
Oh, Raleigh, you're so strong.
Oh my god.
How is this happening?
Your
How am I
voice-
losing
your
to this
voice makes
pathetic
it
couple?
so much worse.
He's done with Naruto. I haven't even started the cross-examine now.
Counsel, if you could
Wait,
drive
wait.
yourself upright again.
And already my argument's been destroyed.
The court awaits your cross-examination.
My lord. Oh good. Another desperate situation.
My goodness. It really is just back and forth with this crazy stuff.
Alright, let's see. Nothing to do with them. Windows are top casements. We've seen
We've
one with
seen
window. Let's see. Right here.
That one. Hold it, he was face down.
And she had left
Yes,
the
you
scene.
said that you went to the nearby police box to fetch another officer, is that right?
That's right, yes. If it had been on Rolly's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course.
Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know the location of every police box on the beat, every beat.
So Rolly told me the way. Only I sort of got a little lost on the way.
Of course you did.
Patricia, my darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me.
What the frick?
Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rolly.
Oh, please.
So, I suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes, but like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed.
I was off duty at time, of course, but a true Bobby is never really off duty. Sir!
Alright. So
That
was
one,
that
yeah.
one
He
too.
had...
Nothing to report.
That's correct, sir. I had my eyes wide open the entire time. Never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it.
Oh my gosh, just
I
look
can
at-
swear to that on the yard's house, on yard's honor,
Oh
sir.
my gosh.
Really? That seems a little strange.
Beg your pardon, sir. Strange, sir. Seems altogether regular to me.
This bird's copy of the Lion's Pride was originally in the Garrett household, so the question remains, how did it find its way into the hands of the victim? Only Gintama gave me that, Phil. It's the romance I've been waiting for. Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time?
Aha! Could it be a different copy, sir? One that just happened to be burnt as well?
Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping books like that in her hands? As we can see from this photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder.
Well, sir, that book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene.
Interesting. Is that so? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. The two mysteries of how the knife ended up in her back and how the book ended up in her hand. There must be some common thread between them.
The Gyarados.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. I had no right to speak out.
What do you mean?
I requested the cross-examination of Mrs. Garrett without consulting you, even if the judge did deny me.
Oh, I see. Well, I agree with you. We do need testimony from Mrs. Garrett. If we're ever going to get to the truth of this matter,
Do you really think so?
well, think about it. No matter how far it is across the road or how that window opens, Mr. Garrett's book found its way to the scene at the crime spot, didn't it?
You're right.
And then there was Mrs. Garrett's reaction to me showing her the knife. The woman's hiding something, I'm sure of it.
You're right again.
We need to use this cross-examination to cover more clues. We'll get to the bottom of this one way or another, I swear.
Yes.
Great.
Also, how can they even, like, trust the lady when she's been, like, lying about being not the wife and
Yeah,
stuff?
because she's telling the truth now. Obvious.
And also, they said they would have seen. No, actually.
What do we even have in terms of things we can present? Nope.
The night. No.
Nope. Back. Knife.
Oh, wait.
Go back. Can you
Wait,
just
she
look at it?
recognizes the knife though too, Mrs. Garrett.
Yeah, so it's their knife.
Scroll it, like,
One second,
scroll it
I'll-
around.
So what the freak? Like,
They can link it to the Gyarados somehow.
Broken.
Oh look, Mr. Naruto. Okay.
Oh, look here, Mr. Naruto, just the tip. Small piece of blade appears to be missing.
You're right. Well spotted, Mrs. Sato.
I wonder what could have happened to it.
this
Yes.
doesn't have any significance.
You don't
to
think
anything.
it could still be lodged in the victim, do you?
Oh dear, I do hope not. That sounds terribly painful.
Okay, I don't think there's anything here right now.
What about the photographs? Updated.
Look at this graph. What is the newspaper report?
What?
Oh, that's the local map.
You can't open up the book, can you?
No. Think about the book either.
Alright, well, back to the case. Because we're just trying to prove that he...
I'm just gonna press some more stuff. Maybe these top hinged casements or do something. By the which, you mean they don't fully open, is that correct? Yes, sir! They're just there to allow a bit of air through the house, you see? So they're restricted as to how much they open.
And therefore, anything thrown out of the window from inside the room would simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. Would simply strike the pane and fall straight below. For clarity, allow me to mark the map. Here's the location where objects would have fallen. Directly. Oh.
Yes, directly opposite the scene of the crime, on the other side of the red and white road.
You wanna pass off the judge? Would it have been so hard for somebody to mention this top hinged casement thing before? Well, I have another question for you, Constable. And what would that be, sir? How do you know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. or Mrs. Gyarados house is furnished with? Ah, well, sir, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, Mrs. Beat?
Sorry?
You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that?
Oh, I was just remembering, that's all. We really were so lucky.
Lucky. Landed in her back. Person tried to walk it off and passed out across the street. I see. I guess that's possible. Walk off the knife.
Well, of course I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we were just so lucky it didn't happen on Rolly's beat. It was so close, you see.
Susato guilty next trial. Oh, I hadn't realized.
Oh yes, that street, Briar Road, that's the boundary between Rolly's beat and the next one. Wait, what? That street. Isn't that right, my love?
Constable Beat. Oh, yes, that's right. That's the reason I was helping out with interviewing the occupants of Gyarados household yesterday. Their house is on my beat, you see, sah. That really was cutting it close then.
Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Gyarados household is on your beat, does that mean that the pavement next to it is as well?
Outside Mr. Gyarados' house? Yes, ma'am. The pavement on the side of the road is part of my beat.
My God.
I see. I was unaware of that.
Just think, if the woman had been attacked just on the other side of Briar Road, we would never have been able to go for that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary.
Do you think they dragged the bodies to the other side so they could celebrate their wedding anniversary?
Probably.
Oh, totally.
That's totally what happened.
Oh my
But that's the life of
yeah.
Bobby after all.
Extraordinary people are Bobby's tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners.
Do you know what I think? I think it was the good Lord's way of rewarding my Rolly for all his hard work. Don't you think so, my darling?
That must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it. I think perhaps we should make sure we have that information officially on record.
Leave it to me, Mr. Naruhodo. I'll take care of it immediately. I'll look at the case
It's
file.
on the middle of Briar Road. The most fun. See, the woman rendered unconscious, blah 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 blah. Pavement on Briar Road, east side. So that's the right side.
Slowly.
The victim remains unconscious. Her name's clean apart from effects. Same as zero.
Running.
Okay. So we have to present something with this new evidence. Present something with new evidence we just got.
What?
I don't know though. Yeah, the report we just updated. That's for sure going to be used as what we
Yeah.
present with. I just don't know what we present.
Hold it!
Which is depressing for now, I guess. But according to my notes here, the sun had gone down already and it was dark.
Oh, but Raleigh and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky and looking for our lucky star.
Sorry?
The star that will guide us to eternal happiness.
Can't it guide you to answer the question? If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us, it would have lit up like a shooting star.
And if I'd seen a shooting star, I would have made a wish. Let Raleigh be an inspector, I would have said. 3 times at least.
Of course, well, with the smog and everything, we actually couldn't see any stars.
With this.
In short, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you?
Yes, sir! That is correct, sir! As sure as the night sky in London is starless, sir! Certainly seems like they're telling the truth.
No, it doesn't.
And then we saw the poor woman fall to the ground, so we ran straight over to help her.
I don't know what to do.
Hold it!
How can you say that for certain? Okay, I've actually got it. Knife, books are out the window, falls on the ground. Lady picks up both of them, sticks the knife in her back, tries to walk it off, and dies across the street. Yeah, okay, great. A very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it in the reigning of awesome policemen are all duty. Oh gosh.
He showed us that before, didn't he?
Did he? I can't say I remember. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace and command. It's what the job's all about. And that's why I can stand here today, because of my long-suffering wife, to tell you about the Bobby's good for his word. While rubbing my tired eyes, admittedly. Sah!
Gosh.
Oh, Raleigh, you're so manly.
Oh, of course I am, my darling Patricia. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Raleigh.
No, none of this is what I meant.
Oh,
I meant, how can you say for certain that this case has nothing to do with Mr. or Mrs. Garridev? Ah, see, sir, you should have said earlier, sir. Yes, well, so could you answer the question? That was a waste of time, yep. Literally, just goes into the next answer. This is a surprising reason why Mrs. Garridev's domestic dispute can't be related to this case. Alright, yep, we get it. But before I get into that, sir, just one thing. What is this? Yes? I'd very much like you and all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard. So I'll hope you'll take back some tales of us London Bobbies and how we uphold our guiding principles. I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I've only just arrived here. So to that end, sir, I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal. Perfect. Actually, I think I'll need that. But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through it without shedding a few tears. Thank you. I'll try. Okay, this
What
is
does that mean?
This
Warrant
is
card.
this is something we actually have to GG Venziek's baffled.
Can I ask you something, please, Mr. Lawyer, sir?
Before we get into that, real quick, policemen will strive to preserve the peace and a lot of beats. Patrol officers expect to walk 20 miles around the beat and further its community relations. Let's see. Any crime that falls under the jurisdiction of a beat and to which they are discovered. Falls under the jurisdiction of the beat
Of the beat which they're discovered.
Yeah, okay. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help the detectives. Wait, I think that's important.
Yeah.
Didn't he help them?
I don't think he did.
Yeah, he didn't because he went to dinner.
Oh,
But
yes,
he did.
of course.
He interviewed the
What is it?
Garridevs to help.
You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell.
What? I wasn't really. I mean, what's she doing?
Please, just because I'm a woman doesn't make my testimony any less valuable. You might just see me as a wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word, I am.
I really don't ever remember ever suggesting that I doubted you.
No excuses, I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard. My lord, you'll let me speak, won't you?
Yes, Mrs. Beat, I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire.
Oh, glad. I'm so glad we actually have something to work
Sometimes the
with.
path of least resistance is the sage one.
That was a very loud mutter.
I heard that. That Japanese man thinks a policeman's wife's word counts for nothing, does he? Well, watch out, sir. I might let you get away with something like that, but my Rolly won't.
Duly noted, Mrs. Beat. Please, I humbly ask you to continue.
What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder?
Alright, good thing we pressed everything, I guess.
Sense of direction is off.
Okay, I guess we'll just press this. Mrs. B, nobody's questioning what you've told us.
I saw it, I did. That evening, I saw it clearly. That little Eastern man with his whiskers and the funny curved back slinking away from the scene.
Ha!
And I know what I didn't see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky.
All very clear. You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction?
Oh, yes, well, that's a little embarrassing, really. I'm always ending up at the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rolly.
Oh, pressing.
She gets ever so cross.
Excuse me, Constable Beats, is there a problem? This guy's actually just like a maniac. He's just a psychopath and just gets snaps. Yeah, no,
Rolly did
sir.
it. Rolly
No
did
problem, sir.
Rolly
See, I can
did
see
it.
this guy breaking down.
No way.
Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind, perhaps? Oh, well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was just remembering the same thing happened that evening is all. You mean Miss Beat lost her way on the night of the incident? Well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box in the next beat over from mine. But she was gone a fair bit longer than what I wasn't expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes. But my darling was gone for a good 15.
Oh, Rolly, you're such a tease. But the reason I was so long was because of the bouquet, silly.
The bouquet? Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about?
Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Rolly's so romantic. He saved up for it with farthings and halfpennies he found in the gutter while doing his rounds.
Yes, how romantic.
I'd forgotten all about it until just now. Had you, my darling?
Oh yes, but that was just between us. No talking about it to anyone else, darling. You have to promise.
Really? Oh.
What was that all about? Constable Beat looked very obviously troubled during that exchange. He's a psychopath. He's the murderer.
I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight, Mr.
What the frick? I don't
Naruhodo.
even understand what that meant.
But I'm quite not sure of one thing. We have to ask Mrs. Beat about the bouquet
Apparently he bought her a bouquet with money.
that he'd found on the ground.
Which might be the guy, the juror. This is money. I don't know. Mrs. B, this
What?
bouquet that you just mentioned, I don't know, we'll find out. I'd like to add details about it to your testimony, please.
Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to.
Oh, he's starting to get worried. Okay, I ended up losing my way for a while. Guess we'll press this now. You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime?
Yes, that's right. Oh, I was so upset when we ran over and saw it. It was a woman with a knife in her back. I was so shocked I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light.
There you go.
So I didn't notice it first.
And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on.
Yes, and I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again. But the funny was, when I went to pick it up,
It wasn't in the same place.
it was
Oh.
nowhere near the victim's
Yep,
body at all.
Alright, he moved the body.
He moved the body.
Who did?
The beat constable.
The constable moved the body.
Who's constable?
The Mr.
The
Beat.
guy that keeps falling asleep.
Oh.
Because the whole point is, that's why he's telling him to keep it a secret, because he moved the body, but the bouquet, because the bouquet was next to
yeah.
the body, but not anymore.
In case you need reminding, Mrs. Beat, the victim is not deceased.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road.
Your husband, presumably.
That's right, silly me, I'd gone over the wrong side of the street. Although I'm going to blame the bouquet this time. I can't think how it got there, I really can't.
So the bouquet somehow moved from one side of the briar rug to the opposite.
Curious indeed.
Curious.
Isn't it? But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick the bouquet up again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose Raleigh bought me with that change from the gutter he spent so long collecting.
By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this sorry solitary rose?
Oh! Oh, yes, that's it. That's the bouquet Rolly bought me for our wet anniversary with old bits of changing pot in the gutter. Are you down in the gutter?
Maybe just call it a rose.
Tell us more, Francis. Where did you come by the flower?
According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Gyarados household.
In front of the Gyarados house. Oh man.
Although it wasn't noticed until the morning as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Could I have it back now, please?
No, I think for good measure this rose should be added to the court record as evidence.
Oh,
Alright, here we go.
but it's a symbol of her love. I want it back after the trial. Do you hear me? I want it back.
Good grief! Rest assured I shall do my very best not to forget Mrs. Beat.
Freaking Rolly. Perturbed.
Let's
Go to the next one.
What do we? No, so okay, we've seen everything.
Yeah,
in
you
court.
gotta present
The question
rose.
is the rose. And where she stood.
Yeah.
Present the
Can you
rose.
present it?
Where did I present it though? Let's see.
We go back? We would have
Seen
seen it.
Leave the scene to fetch out, but nothing about makes nothing.
Right there.
disturbs.
Present the rose.
Yeah,
the
that's.
rose.
Yeah,
That's
go
what you
back.
present the
That's where you
rose.
present the rose.
All right.
Present rose. When they have one life left.
Let's consider the implication that's nope. Oh,
Oh, crap.
You think? Well, I think it would actually be pretty interesting if Antique just shuts Naruto up and solves the case himself. All right,
That would be funny.
that was a mistake. All right,
Save. Time to
we
save.
gotta save. You
Save.
know,
Oh,
Save.
no.
it's not worth going through all this again. This will be the first time we fail, though. If we do fail,
Oh, that's why we're saving everything and then.
even though he would lose the case as a prosecutor. Okay, let's see. Let's think where we gotta present something. I think it disturbs.
Drop my bouquet
Okay.
and it'll please my way for a while. Present.
Drop my bouquet. Boom. Bouquet was found on the other side of the street.
No, this is wrong.
Nope.
That's wrong. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Did it not?
load.
Wait, how did we know that wasn't right?
You can just see.
How?
No, there's no safe scumming here. You can see. Look at you. Like you literally.
Huh.
Yeah,
Oh
no,
crap,
like,
we're
you-
dead.
Like
we're
you
dead.
know. You can just tell. Can't move the trial fair and square.
Nope.
Cannot. No cap. No cheating
I love
here.
how we're cheating.
No cheating here.
Oh my god.
It's hard.
Didn't take my eye off the crime scene for 1 minute.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong about that.
We already presented it. Hold it! We already presented it.
Are you pressing?
Yeah. Box. Okay, there's nothing else there.
Really?
Where did they talk about that it happened to land on the right side of the road? Can't play the game in one go, you have no right to be the defendants. The windows on the top.
Wait, go back. Go back to his statement. That one, because that's the one talking about how it would have.
Hold it!
What I was saying.
And then she does a thing.
No, it's the same though.
It was annoying because we already know like what happened. But
Yeah,
we just don't know
that
how to
happens in
present
830
it.
sometimes. Let's see, bad guy who be so disappointed carrying on his goal like cheating is not the way.
Kazuma.
You see, the windows on top floor of the Gyarados houses are connected to the basement.
What about the warrant card where it talks about how he can only he has to help out?
I don't think.
Well, it could be. I don't know. We got 3 new pieces of evidence, technically. Actually, this says Briar Road East Side, so maybe it has to do with this. Actually, I'm gonna present that. Right.
Objection!
Gosh, dang it. Alright.
Oh my goodness, yeah, this is the most frustrating part, just figuring out where the game wants you to. Right there the save scum, I download the live stream one time with my alt accounts. There it is, log in. Have on Outguard 2. That would be so funny.
Let's
Pop it in the
think.
chat.
That would be
I
really
would
funny.
die.
Let's see. Disturbs.
But he didn't take his eye off. Oh, there we go. This is talking about.
Oh, we
This is something new, right?
No. Talking about like, oh wait, it was a copy of the book. It's like, why would you hold that? No. Let's see if Susatos has anything to say about this. Following along. With book, you know, this is crime scene, Gary was hiding, but no one else has been hiding something from himself. Armed with everything I need to know. Yeah, I know I've been armed with everything I need to know. I just need to know where this is going to expose the whole truth of this mysterious affair.
Let's see. Maybe this one has nothing to do with it. Leave me. Or
Okay, next.
he's
Next.
obviously
Not this one.
lying, though.
She said the Minotaur clock next. Lady, obviously, if anything had been thrown
We
out of the window, we would have
seen
seen
it.
it. Where are the lights out? Underneath
Now
Gyarados'
he's-
household?
Colton Lee.
No way! That's one more downvolt, Colton Lee! Bro, that's funny, that's funny. He's on his alt account.
Maybe go back and do the. whole
No
thing on the
freaking
previous
way,
one.
that's so funny.
I've seen it.
Colton Lee.
Do any of our 2 viewers have any ideas of where we should do this?
Oh
See,
my
go catch help.
goodness.
Probably was there to make sure.
Maybe what's the
Well, they said
what?
the lights were out and there's a light in the photo.
Nope, this wasn't it. Alright, time for another downvote.
Oh my goodness. There's a light in the photo and they said that they found her with the lights on the street lamp off.
Oh yeah.
So he says, we found her on the side, or I'm good for my word, you just
But
present
then
the
again,
case
a picture
file.
can light up.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I did leave
I
this
have an
scene.
idea what you should do.
Real cheating, we should really just look it up.
Just accept the fact that.
Hey, I looked up answers when I played Ace
So
Attorney.
do
I.
Just restart the trial from the beginning. Oh my.
Oh my goodness. Such a funny. I concur. Oh my gosh, the 2 viewers are Colton and Lee. Colton Lee. The victim is unconscious, her name.
Really, I feel like we figured out literally the entire case, but
Yep.
I just don't know what to do right here.
This one.
Regulation.
Present this.
Where?
When he says, "Where I'm good for my word."
Yeah, do this one.
I'm good for my word. Present the regulations.
Right here?
No, the other one.
No, other one. He says something else.
So, here?
This one.
London Bobby's good for his word. Police regulations.
Nope.
Dang
Nope.
it. Alright, save scum.
Pull out
There's
your
the
4th
fifth
count.
One. There's the 5th or 4th one. I have no idea. This is frustrating. Oh.
This is annoying. Okay, let's really think about this. Okay, ended up losing my way for a while.
Did we already present this at this moment?
I don't know if I presented at this moment. Nope, wrong.
Wait, how do you know it instantly?
Ethan Critchfield, that's another downvote.
Oh my
You
gosh.
can just tell by the dialogue.
just-
No freaking way. On print screen, that's such a funny freaking...
Does it print both screens?
Yeah. That's a funny sequence of events.
Just
restart.
restart.
Oh my.
Good land. Oh my gosh. I agree, +1.
You mean -1.
What
Alright,
happens?
plus
I
another
dropped
down
my-
vote.
Pay for it.
It didn't
No,
take. Hold on.
go forward.
Go a little bit slower. You guys are going so fast. He didn't take his eye off the thing.
Oh dang it, did I mess up? I was trying to go backwards.
I don't know how you go backwards on mouse. Maybe right click.
Oh, I thought I just clicked on the back.
I don't know. Yeah, it's right click and left click.
That's fine. Okay.
Okay, so we can't. So this one right here, there's nothing to really object with. This one.
That's another down vote.
This one is, I feel like, because we already tried it with. Well, what about the bouquet? With this one?
On the first one?
Because
Almost
there's
LMAO,
word
how do I
bouquet.
have Critch's Google?
Oh my gosh, he actually just logged on to
No way, that's so funny.
It's D&D, probably.
Also, LMAO, how do I have Critch's Google account?
I thought that was actually Critch's
I
topic
thought it
one.
was too.
You're
That's
right.
even funnier.
Critch would,
replaying.
Critch would never watch my stream.
I
You're
thought
right.
I thought Colton like messaged him like, bro, you gotta hop on. Oh my, 3 viewers. You're putting in work right now, Colton. I remember I became Ethan Critchfield.
Maybe do this one with the flower. Did we already do this one?
Do the warrant thing right here. Objection! I don't know, it's wrong.
Nope.
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
Freaking wrong.
How do you know it's wrong
'Cause the
immediately?
top right.
Tell the text. No, the top right doesn't do anything. It's just you can tell from what he says.
Oh.
7th, dislike.
I'm just gonna guess and check at this point. I have no
Save,
idea.
just call this episode Save Scum.
I have no idea. Nope. Nope, that's wrong.
Can I just look it up?
Okay. I mean, at this point, if we're just guessing and checking, like, might as well just look it up. Saves more time.
What is it? Ace Attorney.
What are we? I can just look at the. I can look at the save. We're on case episode 4. Look up episode 4 walkthrough.
Episode 4.
Great Ace Attorney episode 4 walkthrough. Where's
That
Great Ace
right
Attorney
there.
walkthrough?
Okay, yeah, I got it. Great Ace Attorney episode 4. Got it.
Okay.
Walkthrough. Foils. Oh my. Part 2. Hold on, I'm not reading anything. This is the last part. Let's go. Part 3, part 4. Okay. Pursue Rolly Beat when he reacts. Press testimony 5 again. Present the anniversary bouquet on testimony 6. And this one.
That one.
That's a stupid one to present the anniversary.
Whatever, we
present.
did it. We knew.
Now this is actually cheating.
It must have been that one time after I watched too much Gintama. Whatever. Alright, you claim Constable Beat there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. But that cannot be.
What do you mean to say?
In your testimony just now, Mrs. Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with a policeman assigned to the beat, the bouquet you dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. Oh my gosh!
What the?
But considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be so described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street back into the gutter where it belonged.
What does that mean? Oh, meager.
But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to the facts?
No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me. It has nothing to do with the case. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure.
No, because sadly that's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong. Okay.
What are you talking about?
I don't even know. Think about it. Besides Mrs. Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garredev's book. Mr. Garredev's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out the window by his wife. Would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed here on the west side of the street, and yet it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hands. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime on the east side of the street, but in fact, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road, in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garredev's house. There's no logical explanation for those things, unless somebody deliberately moved them.
Finally, we got to it. We already knew about
She's
this.
wearing all patchy clothes.
What are you trying to say?
What does the patchy clothes matter?
They're like poor.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's why the one rose thing is.
and also the way he
Significant.
bought the one rose with pennies.
Yeah, you
he
picked
found on
up
the ground.
change.
The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong. Don't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says. Flittering on about books and bouquets, why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is.
Oh good, Mrs. Garredev's come around. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garredev, but deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called,
Tampering, Mr. Naruhodo.
But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it, for a very subtle but compelling reason.
Tampering? You've barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend, who would possibly have had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception?
Yes, there's someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence
Constable did.
and all the testimony points to that one particular person.
Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying was responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime?
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I
Would not doubt it.
It's true.
He would do it all the time. Obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Rolly Beat. It was you.
What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard?
What nonsense! Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London.
Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you're absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it.
You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about that Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Objection.
Definitely Susato.
This is flipping just a comedy act over here. If that was true, Constable B would have seen him do it.
Oh, and forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. B, it was after the defendant had fled the scene.
Well.
Objection!
First, you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well. But your accusations lack one very important thing. You claim the crime scene was tampered with. But there's only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime. To hide something.
That's right. He's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there. That's all. So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense. He just didn't want to have to worry
You've
about
offered
it.
no motive
He
for
wanted
this
to go to dinner with
alleged
his wife.
tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats.
It's okay, I got you guys. Constable B had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair.
Mr. Naruhodo, have you managed to solve this mystery?
Like
Yeah,
an hour
like,
ago.
yep.
Yeah, we've known this so long.
Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering.
Very well, yes, my lord.
More work? All right. Off I go then.
Constable Beats' motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide
Where the victim fell.
Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up at all costs.
What?
Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road, we saw it happen, remember? It was right here, as if anyone didn't already know.
That's certainly what everybody has been led to believe, but in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all.
What? What? Oh, I just realized that they're sharing the same scarf.
Yep.
It's connected to the bottom.
I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end, Counsel.
If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know my Nipponese friend. Just say Japan.
Nipponese.
Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening?
Take that!
But that's...
On the opposite side of the road.
I don't understand. Of course, she wouldn't know because she doesn't know.
On the evening in question, Mrs. Garrett's book fell directly down from the open window above, and your bouquet, Mrs. B, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself.
That was an intense.
Objection!
It's okay.
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place.
That's right. I saw it with my own eyes.
It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was a typical London fog on the grounds. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side of Briar Road.
No, that's not true. It can't have been.
Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending for you for help, and during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print, the victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of the Briar Road.
extraordinary.
But the constable overlooked one thing.
What? What did you ever look? Okay.
The bouquet, I presume.
Exactly.
Prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Zeek said it wasn't noticed until the morning as it lay where the street lamps had cast no light.
Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously.
Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position, on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond? Constable Rolly Beat.
Is he breaking down now?
He's gonna break down. Here we go.
Oh my god.
Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important?
Oh, Raleigh, it isn't true, is it? What that lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know.
I had a dream, a terrible dream. All the things I did that night, everything come out, everything exposed. Only, it seems, it wasn't a dream at all.
Good golly! Order! What on earth is the meaning of all of this?
Oh, Raleigh, why? Why would you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it?
Wishing the victim dead should be one too.
Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London town.
I can't say, sir.
What?
I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging this yard's reputation, for everything. I have a possible explanation. I have a theory. A game theory.
Why
For
would he
why
say-
on that particular evening.
He's like, I don't know why I moved it. Yeah, you do. What the freak?
Yeah, I don't know why I just didn't lie in the first place until you went this far. The guilt was eating at him. He's a constable, man. He's an honor to uphold. Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can think of one reason.
What? How could you possibly know? You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman.
And that, Lord Francis, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far.
Oh,
I believe it will be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's...
That's right, put him in his place, Judge. Put him in his place, old man.
old man dies. Have to do a whole new trial.
Counsel for the defense, if you please.
Yes, my lord.
Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence.
At once, my lord. England, Japan, it makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions.
What gives away the motive for Constable Beat? Something about it.
The now you present that thing, the warrant card.
Wait,
Because
that
it contains the rules.
Oh yeah.
It says, hey, if
Where
it's
he
found
has
in my
to.
area,
He
I
has
have
to
to
do
do
it.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
I was kind of worried that I wanted to save, but like, my face this trial, it's probably the exact same image, let's be honest. I realized that okay, now let's take a look.
Click.
Let's take a look.
And then throw it up.
But there's so much effort to throw it up.
Go to site.
Why don't you just save it real quick and then we
It
can
takes
just...
2 seconds.
It's the exact same phase.
image.
Exact same phase. Same. Alright. I realize I'm a foreigner in this land, and I've only just arrived in Japan, which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learnt that though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example.
Keeping the
Keeping
peace.
the peace! Looking after the citizens on his beat in all kinds of ways.
What did he retract? Did he retract the same? Oh, he retracted the same, so it makes sense, because he accidentally typed same on the wrong account.
Caught in 4K.
There's no doubt that the young Bobby is
He's
charged.
charged with a great deal to do his stay certain.
But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special.
Special. How?
Does anyone have a memory in this game?
I know.
On account of his smoke, my lord.
Oh, yes! It was our very first wedding anniversary.
No one has a memory in this game. Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife, and was looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal.
When he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road. When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them, what must have gone through the man's mind?
Recap. Recap. Prove it. I don't need to prove it. I have all the evidence I have right here.
Prove it.
This is why I'm the one playing Ace Attorney, so I can expose your lies like this.
That's funny.
This is the warrant's card that Constable Beat offered to lend to me earlier. Inside, among the rulers for patrolling policemen, it says.
The rulers.
The rules for patrolling policemen, it says. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with the initial investigation to help detectives. Constable Beat. Is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day?
Too bad for him.
Yes. Everything you said it's all right.
So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat. Saber.
Oh, exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat.
Good gracious.
Is that supposed to be the pun here?
How many times have we kind of explained
You
and
realize
mentioned
the
what happened?
gravity
And the judge every time, oh my god!
you have done!
It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. We've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. I can't believe Rolly was guilty. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime scene is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with the initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why did it have to appear here? And why tonight of all nights? Why? Why?
I was thinking that Isa put his face again, but only the mod account can post links. You could mod Critch On the mod
No,
account.
he can't. He
Oh,
can't
that
make
would've
a
been
new
funny.
bot. That'd be broken.
It's a copper's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then when I opened my mouth to speak. It just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat to mine, Pat. So you have to go to the police box that covers it, turn right along near Scum Street, and then...
Messed up. Oh, even Susato-chan is.
Susato-chan? Oh, Susato-san.
I said Chan.
That Cosmos Gaming mod place. No, get out of here. Not even a real person. The Zero bot. You might as well be a bot.
0 viewers.
Body. Oh.
He's crying over my
I want
number
the
of
fake
viewers.
tears. I want the fake tears, Thomas.
I'm sorry!
Critch's a loyal follower and he's an RDM, so he should be a mod.
I'm so sorry.
You can't
Oh,
be DM of a dead
Constable.
group.
It's true, he's not DM anymore.
I just wanted just that one night to take my Patricia out for dinner.
We'll never know what happened to.
Oh,
train.
The
Raleigh!
Thunderfish.
Not the Thunderfish, to Miko.
Who?
Meepo.
Oh.
Just that one night.
You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care.
You see, I thought, well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see?
You just won't give me a mod card because I'm better at Halo. Oh my gosh. Everyone's better at Halo than me.
Wow, he moved a living body.
Oh, of course you did. Otherwise, my Raleigh would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement.
You know, he's pretty strong. Like, she's pretty big.
Honestly.
I see your meaning now.
But God gave me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I brought for Pat.
Oh no, Raleigh, that was all my fault. I should never have dropped it in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Raleigh.
She's saying she's sorry for them to have figured out the thing.
And can you tell us, Constable? How many books did you move from one side of the road to the other in total?
4 was, yes sir, definitely 4.
3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Garrative household, of course.
But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean. You've heard it here. Anyone better at Halo than Thomas should be a mod. That's everyone. Everyone will be a
Found
mod.
Well,
Yep.
well, sir, that's because that's how I found
Even
it.
Ivana.
Everyone will be a mod.
I concur. How you found it? What do you mean?
When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand.
You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding?
Oh, yes, sir, no doubt about it, sir.
Interesting. We said we're in the final part, right?
It's been updated, so go
Yeah.
look at it real quick.
What was updated?
The book. Yeah.
It was just in the hand, yeah.
I thought it was an open and shut case at the time. You see, there were only 2 people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However, which way you looked at it, it had to have been the fellow who ran off who done it, I thought.
No mods. No mods here.
I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it. It's over.
My lord.
It's all ogre now.
Oh my.
Yes, Lord Van Six.
I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. Constable, you may withdraw.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Prosecutor, sir, what will become of my Raleigh? What will happen to him?
We'll hang him by the neck.
For now, you are free to go home. The police will contact you in due course.
Please,
don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. It's because of I'm always moaning at him for coming home late.
I relate to Roman.
Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home.
I'm just kidding.
I'm tired.
All right then, my love.
You're always tired.
One last thing, Constable.
Ah!
Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you.
Yes, sir.
Carve that lesson in your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime.
Never again, sir. You mean to say?
Leave now. This trial is not yet over.
Yes! Oh, sir!
So he's not gonna get any punishment.
I mean, at the very least, he's not getting fired.
Well, all right.
He might get some punishment.
Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say.
I need my other mod, Ryan, to come here and make the case to give Colton and Chris some mod powers.
Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that?
Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally, that the accused Mr. Soseki Natsume is the only person who could have possibly committed this crime.
You said they were in the last part, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want us to end again in like 30 minutes. Next session. No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back.
Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already.
Lord Radzik, this is true.
Very well. Name the person if you will, and if further investigation is warranted, the prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing.
You will name this other person who could have perpetrated the crime.
Jones.
The defense would once again like to request the cross-examination of a new witness, my lord.
Once again?
My assistant made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it's imperative that we cross-examine juror number 4, Miss Shoen Garrido.
Me? Me? Oh, damn me!
That request has already been denied.
But the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garrido, answer me this.
What do you want now, you little toad?
At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garrido. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited, and to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened the window that looks out over Briar
Well,
Road.
what of it?
You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open-top hinged casement window, the book plummeted directly down, to finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident.
Yes, and as I said, what of it?
During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garrido. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back. Oh, wait.
Have you already seen it?
Have you never laid eyes on it before?
I don't recall.
Seriously?
Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there and all that regalia said members of the jury didn't need to testify, didn't he?
Conveniently, yes.
Objection!
This trial is a circus. This
No,
game
I
is a
have no
circus.
recollection of saying that at all, juror number 4.
Wait, what?
Make no
You just said
mistake,
all.
your jurors are not special in... You jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madam, let the truth come out.
But that's just a common or guard knife. It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know?
What's that?
Are you joking?
What are you saying, please, Mrs. Garrett?
Now you listen to me. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it.
Burns her husband's face with a look.
Oh, the
know,
poor
right?
woman.
So yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife if that's what you think.
That's where the broken tip comes in.
Come along now, chop chop! Do your worst!
Oh, well.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo.
If I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it
Present
at
the
her
tip, present
already.
the tip.
I mean, I can't present this.
Just the tip. Then take the stand, juror.
Oh!
The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman.
Thank you, Lord Benzeeks.
Oh dang. Lord Benzeeks.
I'm going to have to testify?
Come on, you always, you always knew he was a good guy. Come on.
This trial is a circus. I agree, avant-garde.
No, this game's a
But I'm
circus.
sure you all appreciate having observed me with your own eyes today. Witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed, truths of which the witness themselves may not even have been aware.
Oh, dearie me.
So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garrett. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth.
Might actually be Thomas's most hated video. Savage.
Do you concur, counsel?
Might as well just reload the video one more time for good measure. Make sure it's my most hated.
Certainly, my lord. It's the same image.
You never know.
I do know. Oh no.
Ooh, minus down 4 dislikes.
Oh. Oh. I'll even this.
Wait. That should only be 3. There's a 4th one. That was probably Steve, let's be honest. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord.
I got you, Thomas. It's been 5, right?
Should only be 3.
There should only be 3.
This is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. I'm here in the Old Bailey and I'm a lawyer.
Oh my god.
Really
I
tipping
think
the
so,
scales.
yeah.
Really tipping the scales in the same direction.
Witness, state your name and occupation.
Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garadeb.
Deep breaths, we'll make it through it.
And well,
Among
I'm
Us.
guilty! I'm just kidding. I'm a juror and such like.
It sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife or a maid or what anymore.
The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case.
I'm an Avgard among us. Ethan Critchfield.
Do you understand, madam?
Oh, do you understand, madam?
Yes, my lord.
You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth.
Oh, dearie me. Chin up, Tony.
Oh, who's this?
It's probably the husband, right?
Probably.
Chin up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now.
Is he always here?
Oh, I didn't know you were here, Don.
Wasn't only you in that room that day, old thing, was it? Rather think I ought to testify as well, don't you?
But what about your knee, dear?
Don't you worry about that. Hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone.
Oh, so he just got slapped.
Oh, John.
I presume you're Mr. John Gard.
Yes, sir. Former second lieutenant on the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northern Fusiliers, sir. Seen my fair share of action and now living a quiet life, as it were. A quiet life? Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question?
Oh, well, yes, quite.
Alright, this should hopefully be
I
the last
believe
witness.
this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court, calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question.
Sir, at once. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. Knocked the candlestick over, set a fire to the carpet, soon had it out though and got the window open.
Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him.
Plenty of knives around our place, can't say I noticed if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid. That battle thing in the victim's back when it was one of ours, you'll have a job of proving it, I think.
The broken tip. So let's get through it.
Sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening.
Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware that on every battlefield you're just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment.
Are we still talking about marital quarrel here?
Well, I must say I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife.
In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. I'm literally talking everyone's roles right now.
Yeah, I was about to say I could take over the husband.
This may be a dead end.
If you want, I can take over the husband.
I got it. Alright, you do the husband, you do that.
Okay. Van Zeeks may well be right.
Well, whatever the chances, we only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Very well, counsel. Begin your cross-examination.
Just because you did a roll before doesn't mean you have to take it over every time. The Battle of Garadeb. Alright, let's think. I think we have to press, obviously. Knock candlestick. Window open. Throw at him. I want to press this. We might go into detail about maybe knives with broken tips.
Yeah.
Sorry, would you care to elaborate? Nothing to say, really. Rather partial to the spot of carving, you see. Pipes and whatnot. Fishing tackle. You know, that sort of thing.
It's a passion we both share. I like to carve little wooden trinkets too, and then there's my other work.
Sorry to say we're always losing knives about the place. And we have dozens of things.
You sell them at the market sometimes, 20 for the price of 19. Needless to say, I snap them up. John prefers to use 2 knives at mealtimes too, instead of a fork and knife. A knife and fork.
Now, Jordan. We don't want people thinking, "Arrgh!" Here we go again with these scaldings. Why are they being so evasive?
Imagine it's because they don't want to believe it. They can't bear the thought that it might have been one of their knives that injured the victim.
Man, why can't people just deliberately kill people in this game?
I know, right?
know.
Which is
Stupid
entirely
cat.
understandable, of course, but still.
Go on with your testimony, witnesses.
Sir!
Wait, did she pour that into his
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The valley thing in the victim's back really was one of ours. You'll have to chop it.
One of theirs. Maybe click on this thing and maybe present it with the knife?
Well, I'll
That's
press
it.
it first. So you have no intention of admitting it was your knife, unless you can produce proof?
Oh, he's sweating.
Even though there is no other credible possibility of Mr. Natsumi is innocent?
You forget my Nipponese friend. That is yet to be established that the accused is not responsible for the attack.
As if I could forget. If only there was some way to know who had handled the knife. But I suppose wizardry like that is just a dream.
Perhaps you're thinking of fingerprinting, Mr. Naruhodo.
What? You mean it's not a dream? That sort of wizardry really exists?
Whenever people touch anything, they leave behind a unique pattern from their skin, or so they say.
But I can't see anything.
There are already countries in the world where these so-called fingerprints can be used as evidence. Lord Strongheart is currently discussing the matter at the Ministry of Magic Justice.
In Great Ace Attorney 2, we'll have fingerprints.
Yes, I believe we are rapidly approaching an era of magic methods of investigation.
Yes, magic.
But for now, we shall have to find an alternative method of proving our assertion.
Like ghosts.
Right. But this knife found in the victim's back was originally in Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's house. I say we present it with the knife with this thing.
Oh, if only I could transplant this whole incident into several years in the future. I mean, I don't think there's anything there yet. That's the extent of
There's
their
nowhere
testimony,
to
is it?
present it.
Oh. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I think we've heard all this before, to be honest. I can't say I'm particularly confident that we'll be able to prove anything new from this testimony.
But in this cross-examination, it's absolutely essential that we establish how this knife came to be at the scene.
It's you right now.
I know.
You saw those prints around the knife. Yes, I know.
Surprise Pikachu face.
Don't ask how. Don't ask how I know. You
I'm
planted
sure
it
both
there.
of them must be feeling very worried. Worried that it was in fact the knife belonging to one of them that caused the victim's injury.
If we could find even a tiny shred of evidence to support that theory, it would clinch the trial for us. It would explain everything. It would end this
Yes,
trial
it would.
finally. So for Soseki-san's sake, we must. We must find that last crucial piece of evidence. Okay, I think I want to examine the knife again. Maybe I'll
Tip of the
actually
knife,
update
tip of
it.
the knife, tip of the knife.
Let me examine it and maybe I'll update it about the tip of the knife.
Threw it, it hit the window, chipped the tip, nipped the tip.
Okay, so this is all we've seen this before. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Let's see. Maybe press this. We'll just press everything in the end, honestly. Even though the room was on fire.
As far as I was concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw. That is most certainly not true of Susato takedown, Mr. Naruhodo.
How did she know I was thinking that? So please cast your mind back and try to remember. Was a knife among the items that you threw at your husband that day? Okay, this isn't gonna lead anywhere.
In all honesty, I don't recall, but I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel, and a sponge, a napkin.
Excuse me, Mr. Joester.
Excuse me. Do you have something to add, sir? Mr. Garrideb. Don't shoot. Ah, sorry, I beg your pardon. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind? Nothing of any significance, no. Just that the barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker, I seem to recall. Ouch. And the woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with everybody. Good grief, woman. We're not at home now. This is the court of law.
Oh, dearie me, I'm ever so sorry, dear.
What's she even doing with the teapot in here?
Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such things at you, obviously.
Well, take a look at this then. What do you suppose happened?
Your pipe, sir.
Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles she did, yes? And when I went to pick the thing up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. I see, your pipe was broken. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid.
I bet it has the tip of the thing on it.
Anyway, I've managed to bandage the thing up for now.
Or maybe his metal or something.
Ha! You are one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear?
I wonder what we should make it. Oh, it could be important.
It's insignificant. Honestly.
Insignificant. Let's just keep going.
Almost as
The
insignificant.
defense believes Mr. Garrideb's remarks just now to be of great significance.
This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife, and pipes as well as hearts may be broken. Sentimental wisdom perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony.
Indeed, common sense, one might say.
Might one?
In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir? There we go, we're gonna find the tip in it.
Yep.
We're gonna find the tip in it.
Well, I don't see why not.
Oh, dearie me, there you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady.
What does that mean?
Like suck up? I mean, yeah, basically.
Very well, the court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence.
Alright, time
Go
to examine
examine
the
it, go
pipe.
examine it, go examine
Examination.
it.
It looks to be in sorry state with the bandage around it, does it? But for some reason it feels slightly ominous to me, like it's trying to shout out a warning. Probably because it's the same blue as Mr. Garrideb's dressing ground.
I suppose it must have considerable sentimental value to Mr. Garrett, given that he's gone to the trouble of repairing it like this.
Either that, or we can't afford to replace it.
Yeah, put it on.
There
There we
we
go.
go.
There's the tip.
My, he's been smoking the tip the whole time.
Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe there.
Yes, I saw
So
it.
small, I
Something
barely
stuck in there, I
noticed it.
think.
Wait, but how did it get in there, and how did the knife fly out the window?
I don't know.
Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What's this? It's a
It's a tiny
fragment.
fragment of
We just have
metal.
to prove that
It
the
looks like the
knife's
tip of the
theirs.
blade or something.
I don't care about the rest of the story.
The tip of the blade? Surely it couldn't be.
Okay, let's present it. We're done
Mess
with
him
this thing. We're done. We
I
already
think
figured
you're
out
speaking-
this trial.
I think you're speaking too soon.
We
I'm
still
so-
have another hour
I'm
of
so
text to
done.
get through.
Oh wait, I actually knew
Oh yeah,
stuff.
fragment of metal. Oh my, perfect fit.
Somehow I just
Just
knew
knew
it. Okay.
Present it.
Yep, it's found inside Karen's Deb's pipe. Oh, wait.
Blah, blah, blah,
Oh,
blah,
no, it's
blah.
fine.
It
Thanks to
doesn't matter,
subsite.
it's
New evidence,
fine.
work with, examine
Where do you know it's
carefully.
gonna
I'll take you
happen?
for that, but Mr. Gator, now we get to the crux of the matter. What can you tell the court about the knife used to attack the victim?
You everything about it.
Present. Present.
Son's fingerprints are in the pipe. Well, I need to figure out where they're presented. One of ours.
Right
This
there,
one, this
right
one,
there.
proving it.
Easy.
Present.
Prove.
The piece of
Just-
metal.
no,
Present
just
the piece of metal.
Just
Make piece of metal?
Yeah, do the piece of metal.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, because it's talking about how it's a perfect fit with the knife.
I'm scared.
Yeah,
Yeah,
save it.
definitely save. It could be the knife or the metal, and I do not want to redo it.
It's gotta be the metal. We found it and it saved it as a thing.
Well, we updated the pipe because we found the metal, though, is the thing. So I think
I'm
it's the
ready for some more.
Or just do the metal.
pipe. Let's see, a large fulling knife
Because
with tip
it
which is
already
broken off.
explained. Go to the metal
Mr.
thing.
Garrett's pipe hole.
Go to the metal. Was
Sorry,
found
just
into the
freaking-
pipe. It's a missing thing.
Whatever. It's fine. I'm sure either would work, actually.
Do they do that?
I don't know. Mr. Garrett, could I ask you to take one good look at this, please? You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing. You can't? Used to call me Dead-Eye Deb back in the regiment, of course, but that was some time ago now. Back when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days. I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest.
Oh, he does, dearie me. It's rather wearing, being asked about every other letter and every other word.
You must be very dizzy.
Must be
Be
very
very
dizzy.
dizzy. Ugh.
What is that? A tiny scrap of metal?
Yes, almost certainly from the tip of the blade. And what may appear at first to just be a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence.
Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence?
It was lodged in Mr. Garrett's pipe. My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how it got there.
And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting that in some way related to the matter of stabbing on Briar Road?
Oh, dang.
I am. All that for
What?
that. 2 words. All that for 2 words. When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case, my lord.
What the heck? Look at his butt. You can see his underwear.
point.
He's burnt.
Really?
You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well, then, present the pertinent evidence to the court.
Oh, so I'm sure it'd just go the other way around. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
This is the knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you will see that there is a small piece of at the tip of the blade that is missing.
A common issue with the inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones.
And what of this particular knife?
No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, now languished somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection. No, that's not the case. The tip of this particular knife's blade is the very fragment of metal which we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garrett's pipe.
Ah! Oh! Good grief, Lord Francisque! I don't believe it! The knife from the crime scene and its fragment of metal are a perfect match. Good golly God! Oh my gosh! Order! Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery?
Yep.
This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle. A miracle?
So Van Zieks has figured it out, has he?
Counsel, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once.
Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrett's pipe?
Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony.
Dang. It just freaking metal.
In the head as usual time of the onslaught, got hit by something hard, it broke it in half, blah 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 blah, it was a knife, she killed him, and we're done.
Oh, look at her shake.
Oh, dearie me. During the argument between those two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Garrett flung this knife at her husband.
Oh look, now it has a tip on it.
However, the knife missed Mr. Garrett instead of striking the pipe in his hand at the time.
Which caused the tip to break off, of course.
Good lord!
Susato's guilty. Quick, declare it before it's too late.
Yes, and that is when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Gyarados' pipe.
Because it was planted there by Mrs. Susato.
The chances of that are millions to one!
And yet, there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out into the open window. In short, this knife, which fell from the window of the Gyarados' house, is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below.
Oh gosh, oh dear, oh no!
Oh, never know when to give up.
Holy shit!
You're gonna break it in his hand.
No, he's gonna throw it
I'm
behind
gonna
him.
throw it.
A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that.
No, not like
A
this.
complex bouquet of seemingly
Don't-
trivial points
don't
plausibly
do this
arranged to create an
again.
almost passable vintage.
Almost passable.
Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nipponese approach to bottling his argument.
Alright, one last push. We need one last thing. Sorry?
But after all, it is just a theory. A game theory. The bottle, I fear, is corked. Because you see... Oh, dang.
A foot.
It's spoilt by an insurmountable inconsistency.
I honestly think he's gonna turn around, huck it at the candelabra.
It's so funny.
It's an insurmountable what?
Lord and sakes, explain yourself. What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified? You're like,
When
Mon is
does this
devastated.
end?
She's devastated. An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with the knife planted in the middle of her back.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
in
she
her-
was bent over,
Picking
looking at
up
the
the
stupid book that had already fallen out the window, and that's how it plunged right there.
That's right, you silly little man!
It's okay, you only have to do one more
Oh
thing.
no, how could it fall and gotten in the middle of her back when
Damn,
she
that
was
thing's
standing
got
up?
the
It's
legs.
because she was bent over.
Yeah, he does.
Now, Gerardo thing, what are you getting all so exciting about? Now I'm rooting for
Let
him
us
even
consider
more.
the basic facts of the case once more. Victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. If the knife that struck her had fallen from above, it would be in the middle of her skull. There's no possible way it could have planted itself into the victim's back.
Oh my god.
Why are you face down? It is the easiest freaking explanation.
It's okay, at least it's one last thing.
I'm rooting for him even more.
Order!
Quite right, you see.
You got it, man. Push through.
Oh, sorry. I thought,
She's done. She's no more.
I thought you were
She's
doing
out,
looking at me
she's-
like this, like just looking at my face, and I'm like,
Quite right, you see, that's exactly right. If the knife had fallen further above, it would have struck her on the time she was dead.
slapped her husband.
I know exactly what happened.
not for words.
I knew it, I'd never like this dude.
I don't know, though.
What really happened?
Leroy Jenkins. It would appear the defense has made rather spectacular blunder.
No.
If
guys
a
are
theory
all
has even one
stupid!
inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's not.
We were so
They're all
close. I
so
see the truth.
dumb.
I was so close to finishing, but not the way it's been blocked completely by just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words,
We simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency, and the theory will still stand.
Susato bent her over.
Oh my gosh.
Miss
Susato.
Susato.
In the middle of a Susato takedown, and I fell on
You mustn't worry, Mr. Naruhodo.
Stuck it in her back.
We're just in a room full of idiots, and no one can understand why
Your mind went
the path that you were in and then away and said himself. The key to this is a court record, I'm sure. All the information you need is there.
it. It seems you have nothing to say, my Nipponese
Due
friend.
to all your incompetence, yes.
Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tacit acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed.
Hey, at least we know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm glad that we know.
Oh, we objected. We're gonna do the shifty eye thing.
It's inconsistency doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. Yes! If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way that could have hit her in the middle of her back.
Unless she
Under
was.
normal circumstances, that is.
Unless she
What
was
are you
bent
implying?
over.
Also,
There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. That can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. You already have the answer.
Goodness!
Utter madness!
Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak.
This is the last inconsistency, the final piece in the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. The evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back is...
The burnt book.
Imagine I pressed it wrong, that it's there and it didn't save.
Or it's wrong. Yeah.
This, the fourth book found. If it was wrong, I'd be baffled. This is the final piece of evidence the defense will present.
The burnt book.
Is that not Mr. Gamerjev's book?
Yes, and to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim holding it in her hand.
But as we all know,
No. It was a police constable that put the book between her fingers
Yes,
like that.
because it was
But
already
he moved
like
nothing.
that before.
Point so was part of his wholesale transplanting of the crime scene to the opposite side of the road.
That's true, however, as part of his testimony, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement on that point.
Well, sir, I decided to keep it exactly the same, sir.
Stop.
In other words, the victim had already picked up the book of her own volition, and clearly that must have been before she suffered the knife wound.
Well, I should say so.
Oh my.
After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd have been doing much of anything.
So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand? Why, by Jingo! I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now.
Oh, dearie me.
We know that the book fell from the top floor into the Gerda household on the pavement below. At precisely the moment the victim was walking past.
Yes, at exactly that moment, the young woman was walking along the street in the light fog, when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her.
The book I threw.
Yes, Mrs. Garadeb, and what do you think that woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement?
Well, I really can't imagine it. But I suppose she might have reached down and picked the book up.
Yes, that is exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book.
Oh, heavens!
And when the woman reached down to pick the fallen book up, what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless, with the sea, because we're in Britain. Then in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book.
That was pretty gory.
The next object fell from the room above.
So much blood.
The jackknife straight into the middle of her back. And at the same time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume.
Well, I never.
It appeared to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor. In the dark and the fog, he didn't see the knife falling on her from above.
And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker. Bro, he looks pissed.
So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place.
I mean, if your learned Nipponese friend showing up in court, who wouldn't be pissed? No, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in an unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind this case.
Dang. The
5
Reaper, the
hours
baby.
later.
Is it really 5 hours?
It's been a
3 hours and 70 minutes.
But this is part
second
2.
Yeah, it's true. Is this only the second one? I feel like we did multiple. I don't know. I feel like it's been more than 5 hours. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb,
My goodness. This whole case took so long.
The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions.
I mean, it just gets longer and longer. That's how it goes
I
in this
wondered if
attorney.
perhaps it might have been something like that.
There, old bean.
Poor Mrs. Garadeb.
Oh my god.
Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it?
Circus over. Can't believe it.
I take full responsibility. I let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book. And I threw the knife as well.
Oh, now she gratefully and willingly admits to everything.
Well, I mean, we've already figured everything out.
John, dear.
It's alright, I know.
so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry!
I wanted a better breakdown. Why can't we have more intentional murderers here?
Oh my.
The bad knee. It's the bad knee, of course.
Look at his. See? He's broke. My.
So both witnesses happen to be the guilty.
Well, I mean, these
Yep.
people were witnesses technically. Well, I guess they were.
No, but the
yeah,
previous witness,
yeah,
too,
No, you're right. Yeah, I guess they were witnesses. They didn't witness anything, but they were witnesses.
Lord
in
Van
court.
Six, what news of Mrs. Garrett?
She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events have left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There's no cause for concern.
Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could easily have been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions.
There's some good news, however, my lord. I've just had word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon.
It's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we've never once met her.
How wonderful. The woman is out of danger, it seems.
I mean, how often do you talk to a victim? And
Also,
it's
the one
assault?
shaky dude wasn't even in here.
I know.
It's true. Yes, that is good news. Well, it's because he had nothing to say, you know?
So, Mr. Soseki Natsume.
Okay, he's gonna appear right here.
Yep,
You happy? You satisfied?
Oh my.
Yes. On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take the opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, and have been repaid with immeasurable kindness, unkindness.
Unkindness.
Please accept our heartfelt apologies.
So much kindness.
They don't say anything.
No, it was me who should be begging your pardon.
I did the
stabbed
murder.
her.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, this wasn't even a murder.
I plead
Nope.
guilty!
Nope, it wasn't a murder. Just an assault. What was the point of this trial?
There
The
was
assault.
none. The longest trial had no murderer. Great.
Oh no, Mr. Natsume.
That evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again in my confusion.
What conclusion, sir?
I was sure the woman was dead.
Yes, Constable Beat said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she'd been killed too.
I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless.
It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here.
Person didn't even die from the falling knife. What a waste of time.
I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're haunting me.
Poor Soseki-san, his imagination really has got the better of him.
Yeah, poor man.
So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have gone for help, for a doctor, for the police. Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires. For that, I'm truly sorry.
One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate events. We were befooled by this spirit and led to false conclusions. But thanks to Lord Van Six and our young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both.
Oh,
Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
Yes, my lord.
in concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decision regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court?
As a foreman of the jury, I can assure you, we've reached
Guilty.
a fair and just conclusion.
I do declare the truth can be extremely cruel at times.
Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure.
sitting in for the old bean while she's out of action, you know. But I know what her decision would be. Does that mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work? Well, it's about time.
I say, I'll have a corker of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I?
Pub time indeed. Finally time to go get a nice
Very
drink.
well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman.
Not guilty.
guilty. Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
This is where Lord Van Zeeks
They
goes
say
for
bada,
summation.
bada, bada.
This is where Van
Huh?
Zeeks goes for summation.
Yeah,
examination.
Now he does a summation, yeah.
Very well, Mr. Sosek. I hereby pronounce you
Husband and wife.
guilty!
Fireworks indoors. So joyous. They do this for every trial.
And finally, Mr. Natsume,
Oh, yes, Lord, sir.
you are now a free man once more. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture, and may you never again be brought before me.
Oh, yes, sir. Of course, on my life. I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again.
He's gonna be the first victim in the next case.
Transported to tears.
Or not victim, first, what is it?
Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned.
Alright, just get through the epilogue. What's in Star Wars?
I don't know. It's kind of cool. Because this is the same feeling I get after watching the trilogy of Star Wars.
Oh,
It's all-
loco.
Oh, loco.
Wait, you mean me?
Of course! Is there another locum here?
Is there even one?
What does locum even mean?
Compared to the original locum student, Mr. Naruto
your name has
Esquire.
become rather short, hasn't it?
What's wrong with using my actual name?
Oh, at last I'm free.
Oh,
I'm
it literally
free.
means
Oh, that's him.
placeholder.
I'm free! I'm free!
Locum just means placeholder, so I guess since he's a placeholder of Kazuma.
Joyful, joyous, jubilant jubilation! Heady, hearty happiness, hurrah!
Oh, I am pleased. Mr. Natsume is delighted.
Would it be so hard to just say that then?
Locum, you did it! You saved me from the brink!
Well, what happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault after all. I'm just glad everyone can see that now.
No, not that! Lovely, loyal, locum lawyer!
Yes?
I mean, as I said before, I just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I looked over my shoulder, I see foreigners, I see towering brick buildings. And from high up windows, I see them looking down on me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback of Notre
Oh
Dame.
dear, I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume. But,
Notes.
Today, you locum lawyer gave my gloom the boot. You stood firm behind the baronial bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold the best barrister ever born!"
Well, that's very flattering. We're very pleased for you.
This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in Japan.
An anecdote? Is that what's to become of all my hard work? Ah, there you are, my dear fellows. Oh, yes, I knew
I
it.
knew
You
it.
guessed it.
I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning.
oh, Mr. Sholmes, what a pleasure to see you.
My favorite character. I see I am here not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say.
Oh,
The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruto.
wait, there's another trial?
No, he thinks he arrived at the beginning.
Oh my god.
And I wish you the very best of luck. It's just finished. What? No! Then my haste was in vain.
It's you, Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, have we met, sir?
This is Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters had taken place in the gloom, either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light. Charming.
Is it your fault, Sherlock Holmes? You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal.
Oh, it's time for the first real murder of the case.
I'm going to give you a piece of my mind.
Murders him
My
in front of everyone.
apologies, sir, but I assure you, I have placed you now. And then Naruto still offends him. I think he's innocent. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor young lady and ran off, are you not? Had she been taken to the hospital more urgently,
She might not have died.
I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now.
Oh,
But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience.
I do feel very badly about how I behaved.
Quick, he's onto me. Make him feel bad. Well, never mind. Now then, what was it that you wanted to say to me, sir?
Nothing.
Got pacified. Priceless. Oh, I am sorry, really, but... that was quite priceless. Poor Saseki-san. Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And it would seem you were not even found guilty.
But there is no bright side.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume?
Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits and now by the Reaper.
Ah, Lord Van Zeeks.
I haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means. Even if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed. It will be...
It will be alright, Mr. Natsume.
If the
If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you. Hiya! What the frick?
Oh my gosh.
She needs an example.
With a perfectly executed Susato takedown.
And this is something else you should keep track of. Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of a warning might be nice next time, Miss Susato.
To be continued.
Nope, not yet. Doesn't end. It can't end yet. So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan.
Yes, fictional character, tell me what you plan on doing.
I'm invested in your future.
Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon.
Oh,
It has already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. I've visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here and the city it has shaped. And I've come to realize that it is my calling to sail home to my fellow countrymen to tell about it.
that's very touching, Mr. Natsume.
Or, in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse.
Say it all. The more I learn of literature, the more this strange feeling claws at my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own.
Oh, I see. A work of literature by Soseki-san. Could it be an interesting read? And what about Miss Osato-san and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry, what about us?
Someone's gonna accuse Susato of taking someone down.
Will you return to Japan alongside your mustached compatriot? Why would we?
A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London,
3 days.
and only now does it feel as though we have finally found our feet.
And you were accommodated in a hotel at present, are you not? That's right, but we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us.
I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted.
How long are they planning on standing here?
Well then, you can take my lodgings.
Oh, the windowless room.
Oh, but what it lacks in windows, it more than makes up for with a floor, a ceiling, and walls.
Great.
And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind a cursed evil spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit.
Oh yes. It tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call.
We'll think about it, if that's alright. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, come on, Sal's coming. Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented. Oh! Though it is up in the attic, I might add. Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft? I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning up the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of.
Oh, this is simply wonderful. What an honor to be invited to taking lodgings in the great detective's office. Is that it? I'm too overcome for words.
So suggesting we look elsewhere is out then, I see. Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsume. I insist.
Iris is gonna be killed.
Natsume's gonna die.
I don't know what to say, but thank you, and yes.
You gotta kill him before he boards the plane.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long.
Can't tank long.
Shan't
Somebody's
take
happy.
long. Shall not take long.
I think I'm losing my mind, Locum. I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London.
But you have to do it other voices. It's too creepy.
Likewise, Mr. Natsume. It was a privilege meeting you too. It's a shame that you're a robot at this point and have no feelings left to me for a goodbye.
Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan.
But Locum, we'll meet again one day.
Yes, I'm sure. Hopefully by then I'll be a successful lawyer.
Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful author.
Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived.
Cutscene? Anime cutscene?
Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I mean, it's always at the beginning of the chapter.
There's one at the end, the fire.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I've little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for dinner this evening. And so, with Soseki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221 Baker Street. 221B Baker Street.
Okay, well, we're stopping here, right?
The attic room. Now, they gotta finish the chapter.
How long is it, though?
There's no way there's that much left. So this,
Your new office, yes.
our office. I rather like the sound of that.
Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it?
I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step. But I'd like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now, that I have no idea what it is. So, my dear fellows, do you like the place?
Oh, what the?
What the heck?
Ah, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank you
he's
so
out
much.
of his
Outfit.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it.
Good, I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you. Oh gosh, wait. I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. We'll eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. Oh, but he's dead. We'll have lots to celebrate.
Iris, you must let me help you.
Alright then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad. Let me hand you this gun.
Splendid.
Man, Natsume's so dead. Doseki-san's so dead. So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel to have your own office in the capital? It's very exciting, actually. I can't help wondering what adventures await us. Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is.
Jack the Ripper.
Sorry? London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights casts the darkest of shadows. Shadows, what do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already.
Or laughter.
So once again, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London.
There you go. Nice. You guessed it. Easy. We go to the dinner on Cat Albert.
Of course, at the time, I had no idea of the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke, but it wasn't long before my turn came to lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. Okay, we did it. We did it, guys. Only took 2 streams today, but we did it.
Whoa! Oh my gosh!
Alright, we'll save the next episode for next time.
We all put our arms up, like.
Gotta stretch. Okay, alright. Thank you all for watching. This has been an exciting stream. Hopefully, we'll stream soon enough. I don't know when the next one will come.
And. No, I'm just kidding.